It's that time again. Welcome to the stage. Oh yeah. Where energy and creativity collide. Here we go. Let's level up. Make this something to remember. All right.
Hello and welcome in. It's the Naystar League, and we are here for some League of Legends action today. We are into the playoffs finally. Myself, Mad Magical, joined in by another new face here. We have Mazelcast. Say hello to our LPL star that is going to be subbing in for today.
Hi, everybody. No, it's really nice to be back here with Nace. I got to cast Nace, I guess over a year ago now with good old Coco the Dragon. It's been really cool to see the development of Nace coming together, and then now to be back here for the playoffs, and we got some fun ones on the bat here, Magical. So
yes, we do.
It's exciting. And
let's look at the season format just to kind of update everyone on what has been going on throughout the entirety of Naystar League so far for the League of Legends side of everything. We've had a lot of action already, a lot of chaos, a lot of things that were expected, though, from a lot of the teams going into this and how they're able to play going into everything. Last week was the last chance qualifiers for playoffs, and now we are moving into the playoffs so that everyone can compete for that prize pool that we'll talk about in just a little bit. As you can see, this has been the calendar dates kind of going on. So you get the idea that we're so close to the... I actually was wrong. I thought we were at playoffs, but I guess we're just shy of it.
It said on the post that playoffs were starting today.
That's what I thought. That's what I thought.
Dates were a little bit off there. Maybe they're starting a little bit early. But interesting to see there's a lapse of the week there into grand finals. So, you get a little bit of refresher time as you come away from these playoffs. But these next 6 days will be pretty intense.
And let's look at today's schedule so that we can get accustomed with the teams that we will be seeing today, where we have the 6-1-6-1 group in the first match, where it's Harrisburg University taking on Maryland. And that one should be really exciting, especially because they're both 6-1. And then the second match, that one, it seems like it should be more heavily favored to Maryville. Maryville is one of the most tenured esports programs that we have in collegiate and have thus far been undefeated.
Hey, don't count the underdogs of GMU out, though. We've seen some interesting things from them before,
hey,
and
I was
Maryville.
Didn't George Mason make it to semifinals last time?
They were pretty intense last year, coming up with some upsets. So I'm really excited to see how Maryville kind of approach. I know they're solidifying their roster a lot. Speaking with Jensen, their coach, right? They're going with a team approach to this offseason, especially with the main roster, and seeing what works, where the chemistry, where the leadership leads within that team. So it's very exciting to see. But we got two very exciting best of threes ahead of us.
Yeah, we do. And you can see below what they are all fighting for. They want to get that scholarship prizing. That'd be very nice, especially the first place, $2,500. Not bad, helps out with the college expenses, all that jazz. I know if I was in college, later. I'm old, so if I was in college later, it would be nice to be able to fight over this, but unfortunately, I'm an olden.
I will say, if I would have had $2,500 in scholarships for playing League of Legends,
right,
I'd be a happy boy in college. So
right.
I'm really excited to see these guys kind of compete with us.
Yeah, and we also want to make sure that we're giving our shout-outs to our sponsors for the broadcast. First off, with Extra Life. Play games to change kids' health, change the future. Join Extra Life today. They're awesome with how they've been able to help out the stream, make sure that we can bring these broadcasts to you, as well as, the prizing that we get to give a lot of these players for Naystar League. Same alongside with Duncan. Naystar League runs on Duncan. Click the Twitch channel below, so that way you can find a Duncan near you.
Gotta love some Duncan. And, always with the ROTC as well, having been surrounded by that in high school in Texas when I was growing up. It's really cool to see kind of leadership within growth at the high school level, and especially as ROTC develops into the military program. It's really cool to see them as a sponsor here for NACE.
Exactly. Just like to see that continuing to help out, make sure that everything is going well for collegiate. But don't forget, we do have a giveaway. So ROTC is back with another collegiate camo giveaway. Check out the chat and the NACE Star League Twitter to enter for a chance to win a PS5 controller and a Herschel Little America Backpack Pro. Army ROTC, be a leader.
Yo, if you're not in that giveaway, I don't know what's wrong with you. Look at those. Those are amazing. That backpack is sick. As a PS5 lover, PlayStation lover, those controllers are sick, so definitely enter that giveaway. But hey, look at the structure that we have now, Magical.
Yeah, this is getting into... we've had a lot of best of threes so far throughout the season. We've been running on those mostly, but now we're switching over to the playoffs. So this is where things are going to be a lot more strict for these teams, especially because the competition is going to be hot at the top. Best of threes, coin flip decides draft and side preferences as well. The default world championship rule set, just making sure that everyone's following the same rules and all that jazz. No cheating out there. Everyone's going to try their hardest. You know what it is.
Yeah, I would hope, everybody's trying to put in their all, especially when scholarship money's on the line, and in the right manner. Everybody's got to have some pride there. But this is our first matchup, Magical.
We got our first matchup here, Harrisburg against Maryville. Just so everyone knows, Fortune Man, we'll probably call Lawrence a couple times because that's one of the names he's gone by professionally back when he was even in the Academy circuit where he played and subbed in for Cloud9 Academy. Since both Marcel and myself worked on that broadcast, it's just a little easier for us, as well as Shorter Ace, High Key Savage, a.k.a. Low Key Savage, a.k.a. Savage, Makel, and Barlow for the side of
How many names do you have?
I know, right? There's just so many people. All these names all across the board. And then on the other side, for Maryland, you have Cloudy. You have, I don't even know how to pronounce that, so I'm just going to call him
Mephistopheles.
Mephistopheles? You know what? At least we have one person here who that's a scholar.
I'll just come into the team fights. I'll be like,
and then we got Derive. We got what I'm going to assume is Cheha and Sunbay.
Sunbay, definitely looking at a support role, especially having seen some in the past of Sunbay, but as well as going against Barlow is going to be interesting. But I will say that Harrisburg definitely not the underdogs at this situation, I feel like, but we did get to see a lot in NACE, the University of Maryland, pulling out some big shots. So I'm really excited for this first best of three to kind of kick off the playoffs.
Hey, the fact that they're both tied in series at 6-1, that's a good showing for a team that is not as well known as Harrisburg, purely because Harrisburg, like Maryville, have been a part of the system for quite some time now. Maryland, though, aren't, as you kind of talked about, aren't necessarily that old to the program either. They have been seen before. You get to see how the pick and bans went down. It happened just prior to this. So you can see that we got the Lucian Nami for the bot lane. Trying to make sure that Makel and Barlow, that's something that they've been popping off with lately. But I'm looking at that top lane matchup, the Gnar versus Malphite. So Lawrence on to Gnar facing up against Cloudy's Malphite. That should be very interesting.
All I'm saying, Magical, is Mephistopheles is going to have to go against Shorter Ace's Lee Sin, and that is no small task. That's all I'll say. Shorter Ace, obviously a legend in the scene, having been with Harrisburg for a long time, but also just a very aggressive jungler when he's feeling himself. And I think, obviously, there's a lot of execution on the side of Harrisburg University, and I think University of Maryland has a really interesting kind of peel-back but engaged comp as well, and a lot of damage to single-out focus. But, yeah, the Lee Sin, that's what I'm looking at. I want to see Shorter Ace kind of pop off on that Lee Sin.
Yeah, and you can see below our predictions of who we expected to win this matchup. Both of us went for Harrisburg. It's a team that we know very well. We've seen them play. But I do want to also say that Maryland are a team that definitely can get this upset. I'm not going to say, not going to count them out. I would actually expect this series to go 2-1.
I'm very excited that at least I'm hoping for this first game to kind of be a boxing match to see what will happen in this best of three. Obviously, a little bit of growing room in a best of three itself, but especially between these two teams, get a very aggressive early game, level one, or maybe even start off game one with something aggressive, and then kind of tie that into the rest of the series is really important, at least for Harrisburg's side, at least with the composition they tried.
Right. They have are in a pretty heavy bot lane where it's like going to look for a lot of early plays, but then it's also difficult because you have the Aphelios Lulu on the other side, something that's a little bit more safe. They can try to poke out from range.
I will say a subtle thing about Lucian. Yes, strong lane. But I will say the way you pilot in late game team fights is really important.
Oh, yeah.
The way that you build. And you can be an absolutely devastating monster in a late game team fight as a Lucian if you pilot it right.
I mean, if anyone wants to even see how well that can be, just watch Worlds, right?
Exactly
like
that.
we saw,
and, being from the LPL, we get to see that a lot. Like in the meta where it was all late game carries, we were seeing Lucian still playing. It was like, why is Lucian? And you're seeing like damage charts where Lucian is pulling off more than a late game of Aphelios.
It's like the LPL has a lot of talent in bot lane.
Well, hey, you never know. But it's part of that meta. It's part of that way that Harrisburg is attempting to approach this best of 3, right? With a little bit of aggressivity and especially the tie-in of the bot lane into that Lee Sin I was wanting to highlight. You were even highlighting Lawrence and how the top lane is going to go. It's a lot to handle in game number 1 for the University of Maryland, but I think they have a decent peel back comp like we were kind of talking about before.
Yeah, they definitely have things set up, but what I also like is essentially looking at Maryland. This composition stops a lot of what Harrisburg want to do, right? Just with the Poppy pick. I love Poppy into Lee Sin. I see a Lee Sin, even if it's shorter aces, I don't care. Poppy is just one of those.
You don't care? Come on.
Not when you pick a Poppy. Poppy into Lee Sin is just so hard to play as the Lee Sin player. But then again, I mean, you did bring up that it is shorter ace playing Lee Sin. It's shorter ace.
Add a little bit about it. You play with the nameplates off, maybe.
Yeah, exactly. If you play with them off, maybe you don't even know, and then you just see that shorter ace is absolutely popping off, and you're like, wow, I thought this was supposed to be a counter pick.
On that point, though, I do think an aggressive early Poppy that is getting ganks off and being, a little bit of a thorn in the side to Lee Sin can be important, but you also need to make sure that you're having backup from lanes, right? If you don't have priority in lane, then it's going to be a really tough time because with the aggressive style that Harrisburg is going for, they're going to try to achieve that. So it's a lot down to execution. Again, this first game is going to tell us a lot about how these teams want to approach coming games, and Harrisburg's trying to come out the gate swinging, but I think UMD with that Malphite pick, I don't know, that's a wild card a little bit. I'm excited to see kind of how it pulls out, especially late game team fights and maybe even bursting out, say a Lucian without a dash.
The thing is, you have to survive the lane phase, especially against Gnar.
Not fun.
I've played that side of the Malphite, both winning and losing. It's amazing when you get ahead and you're just like, haha, Gnar, you can't hurt me. And then when you're behind, you're like, I don't get to play the game. I'd be more useful sitting AFK in base.
Yeah. I'm not a top laner myself, just saying. But
I'm a man of many roles.
As an ADC player, when I see a Malphite, I get terrified because my life is at risk. Now, I'm not good, so maybe that says something, but in all actuality, I think it is a lot of that give and take, right? You're going to have to see UMD play a lot around each other, and I think the team composition matters in that aspect, the way that they've kind of drafted. And if you can make it to where you're forcing Harrisburg to fight those objectives that they necessarily don't want to fight, or if they don't get that lead that Harrisburg is looking for, then it's harder to fight those objectives. Then that is where UMD kind of come out on top in the later parts of the game.
And then one lane that we haven't really talked that much about is mid lane. Taliyah versus Syndra. Syndra got quite a sizable buff when it came to her, a little bit of a tweak around her abilities, especially giving her more of a Victor kind of passive is how I see it, where she gets more as she does, as the game progresses, she gets stronger and stronger. And so with that, against something like Taliyah that is pretty good in the lane phase, that can actually shove back Syndra at most points in the game, and since Syndra is very immobile, can get caught out. I'm looking towards Savage and how he can play against Derive, whether or not we're going to see that initial aggression level 3 look for a kill.
Yeah, I mean, I think it all depends, right? You can approach the lane where you're hyper-focusing on mid lane, but I think when you're looking at the Taliyah, you're looking at those early roams, trying to get out to the side lanes, or at least, like we were talking about earlier, connection with the jungle. And for the Syndra, I think you're obviously looking at the lane, and I think we still need to see that cohesion between the jungle synergy. I think it's so important right now in the meta, but in all actuality, there is a world where you just hard press a Syndra and you force the hand, right? And you try to force that damage when you get to that level 6, and you can kind of get that kill threat.
That's where I'm going to keep my eyes looking at Shorter Ace and how he plays around that, because that is something that's always been very successful for this Harrisburg team, is how they play around the top half of the map. They kind of have been letting Makel and Barlow dominate in the bot lane, giving them things that they feel strong with, such as that Lucian Nami bot lane. While we see Shorter Ace look to see if he can get ahead his top lane, look for Lawrence, or look towards mid with Savage, and then once you get Savage ahead, rotate around and just be this absolute wrecking crew of a duo.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you look at the trio itself, right, in the top side of the map. It is frightening when they get leads. I think there is some conversation whenever there is, deficit or along the lines of like not that early game aggression that pulls off for Harrisburg, where they need to kind of recenter, refocus, and make sure they're focusing on objectives in mid game, getting late game set up. That's important to kind of keep an eye out for Harrisburg. But again, looking at that jungle matchup is so crucial in this one. You know, Mephistopheles versus Shorter Ace is going to determine a lot of the pacing of the early game, let alone that mid game where we see the objective focus.
Yeah, and I'm just doing a little bit of extracurricular activities right now, looking up champion pools and seeing how people play their styles differently. Because I look over towards the bot lane, and we look at Cheha and Sunbay, where you have very good. This is actually a very good duo, kind of going under the radar because everyone always focuses on the teams you see more, such as looking at Harrisburg, Maryville, another one. But this is a bot lane that has a lot of comfort with playing with one another, especially when you put Sunbay on more of the enchanters. Try to really help out. Sometimes can play that Senna, sometimes can play that Renata, but I mostly see the enchanters being the strength, especially with an Aphelios for Cheha, where this is something that they will feel very comfortable in this bot lane. It's kind of the catch and release style that I look towards how Maryville have drafted to catch the aggression that Harrisburg have drafted themselves and try to push it back.
But that's where, like, when you're talking about the Gnar versus the Malphite matchup, I think that's another Hoden, right? You are facing up against Lawrence in the top side on the Gnar, and I think you're going to have to try to pull off some miracles to get a lot of help. And that's where that attention pool can be a detriment, because if you can't get those early aggressive moves across pretty much the entire map as the Poppy, I think that becomes a lot more difficult.
And here we are. We are all loaded up onto the Rift for our first game in our first best of three. Harrisburg University of Maryland. So we do have a little bit of a pause here, or is that just me?
It was frozen for a moment, but we're back in it.
Hey.
They're moving.
That's probably due to the pause that had happened. There was a pause.
Probably.
That's what took us so long to get into the game. So now that everyone's loaded up, let's get into here. Remember, toplessness is still Lawrence, even with the name change. Don't be fooled.
You can just call him toplessness.
No, I'm calling him Lawrence because that's easier.
I'm calling him Lawrence. All right.
It's like High Key Savage. I'm calling Savage because that's also something that he wants to be known by. Mephistopheles. Yeah, right. I wish there was a shorter way.
Hey, look at that! You did it!
I did.
Look at that!
I did.
Look at you.
And I wish there was.
That's the anime arc everyone's here to love.
And then I get into teamfight and go Mephistopheles.
I can't wait. I'll back you up, man. I'll be right.
I'll go Mephistopheles. You know, something like that. Sound like a toddler as I'm trying to say this name. But either way, let's get into this game and look at the stakes that are on the line. This is playoffs. You know, so both teams at 6-1, towards the top of their standings, which is also something that I kind of like to look at Harrisburg. This is a team that I love to root for, but they also are a team that tend to play a little bit too 50-50 for me, where they'll look for these great, crazy plays and then find themselves behind, and then suddenly the series is out of their control.
I think that you can see that. That's where I want to see the growth, right, though. I think, adding that top trio, having Makel and Barlow down in bot lane, I think you have to see that cohesion begin to develop if you want to recognize Harrisburg as that elite form that we have seen them at before. And I think these kinds of moments are important. Kick off the playoffs with a strong performance in a best of three against the University of Maryland, who have had strong showings in days before. That is, to me, a little bit of a sense of pride for Harrisburg. And that's where the University of Maryland, even more so, right, in those kinds of situations, will have a sense of pride of getting a best of three win over Harrisburg to kick off their playoffs, right? So that's where I love to talk about the emotion, the kind of bend in the break, and the flexibility that teams can have in a playoff, in tight moments, in important moments.
So I will say, doing some research, extracurricular activities, as I was saying, Mephistopheles is a big Rengar and Talon player. And so with this Poppy pick, I kind of do wish that it was something really spicy because, as you know, I like my wild picks. But here, just in the Poppy, looking to see if he can match up where Shorter Ace is. As top lane, Lawrence is looking to get that early lead as expected in this Gnar matchup. This is when you really have that power over Malphite.
You're trying to, at least. A little bit of mid lane
nice drive
going on here.
That was a good play by Drive. It looked like he was the one who got was going to take the brunt of the damage with the seismic shove, but then right back into the face of Savage, saying, all right, I can play this game too.
And, we actually see Mephistopheles hovering around mid, but not going to find it.
No, not able to find it, though. I like this play right here. They have a ward in the tri-bush in the bot lane. Shorter Ace is looking for the play, and with Mephistopheles at Scuttlecrab, they can easily turn for that. And look at that. They tried to aggress. They tried to have Mako go greedy there, knowing that they had Shorter Ace in the back pocket, but it was the catch and release that I was talking about before with Cheha and Sunbay.
They're going to continue to be down here. Look at this.
Yeah, Mephistopheles is here. Nice shove into the wall, but they're focused on Cheha. That's a lot of damage. Now it's going to be Barlow trying to get out of this one. The flash coming in, but going to be the flash away with the heal as well. Bubble connects, looking for the damage. Mephistopheles is low, but he's still alive. Here's Mako. The heal will keep him alive. How did nobody die there, Mazel?
Oh, that was crazy. A little bit of aggression between the 3v3 and the bot lane, but you love to see it. A little bit of mind games as well between Shorter Ace and Mephistopheles. Playing around that vision in that tri-bush, but it was so close to being something. That early aggression from Q, trying to be there, trying to formulate something on their bot lane as well.
Well, and the thing is, look at the summoners that were burned. You got both sums from Barlow, both sums from Cheha. The only reason it's even a slight win for Harrisburg is they got the flash off of Mephistopheles.
That's actually huge to revisit as well, because Makel still having cleanse, still having flash. The bot lane will be revisited, I feel like, for Shorter Ace, but at this point, both junglers kind of pathing up towards that top side of the map to try to weigh in on one of these very tightly contested matchups in the solo lane.
It's now getting into the top lane. There was a TP from Cloudy to get back here, but Lawrence is like, yeah, sure, whatever. It doesn't matter. You gotta cheer the goddess. That doesn't really faze me that much. I'm Gnar. I still have my TP too, and I'm about to go Mega, which means I'll get my health back and still be able to fight you.
Very true, very true. I'm actually looking at the early objective focus. I want to see if Harrisburg actually want to use that as a potential piece to the puzzle for them in these early parts of the game. It is an early Cloud Dragon. A little bit of utilization there for their team composition, I feel like, but it would put the pressure onto the University of Maryland, and they are pathing that way, and you see actually Cheha and Sunbay having moved up as well.
Ooh, got the polymorph onto Shorter Ace. Just gonna tickle him though as they look to clear out some of the wards in the bottom half of the river. With a bit of a drive-by from Mephistopheles. Got himself that Scuttle Crab on the top side of the map. Now looking to clear out some more, try to rotate around, get a good flank. Oh, though, Lawrence, that could have been a little bit more dicey as he dived in there. I was expecting to see Cloudy go for it because with Hop gone, that's perfect time for Malphite to look for something. But I guess I just can't let you talk because they're just looking for the plays all around. Nice hydro chuck comes in from Savage. And wow, the burst takes down Cheha for first blood.
That's the combination, the mid-jungle duo, the Talia on the early roams. You can't do anything about it. Darai wasn't even around. And you see the combination there, the damage potential there. And look at this wave being pushed into the bot lane with Cheha nowhere near it.
2 plates picked up from that. A lot of minions burned, as you were already calling out for Cheha. That's a big win for Harrisburg, and you can see that in gold. Just the 1 kill has net them now 1,000 gold lead at just shy of 7 minutes.
They're still playing pretty cheeky on the bottom lane, too. I like this setup from Harrisburg. Just keep pressuring as much as they can.
Oh.
Yeah, a little bit zealous there, but you love to see it, that give and take of the mini map. Oh, locked back into it.
That's so unfortunate for Sunbay. The trap that had been laid out that time was perfect from Harrisburg.
They waited so long. Oh, my goodness. And then you just second guess yourself for 1 second. Oh.
Okay, here we go. That's going to be the Mega Gnar, getting a lot of damage onto Cloudy, but he still has that ult. Could get away, but he will flash just in case.
Man, bot lane feeling real bad for University of Maryland right now.
Yeah.
That's the thing, though, Harrisburg, with their competition. When they find a wound, they can continue to press into it. And they definitely have bot lane, which frees Shorter Ace, too. Now look at the solo lanes again.
Well, and look at the items that have been built up. Savage went for Boots of Lucidity purely to have more rotating power here early into the game. looking probably to make another play in the bot lane. Continue to get Maykel and Barlow ahead. You have that one kill with the serrated Dirk picked up by Maykel already into this game. It's going to be rough for Jaya, who kind of needs that item. Look at this kick in mid. Ooh. Just perfect. Easily played. Derives like, I know I'm dead. I'm just going to try to take some minions with me.
Savage goes in there and takes it, and that's some of that mobility that's provided from a Lee Sin, let alone Shorter Ace's Lee Sin, where he is just ruthless.
Well, and this goes,
it's going to compound.
This goes into what I was talking about before, the duo. Shorter Ace and Savage. They group up together. They like to move around the map. You can make a play mid lane, and now you've unlocked Savage to rotate with the Coon Squad.
And especially now with the Rift Herald as well, there's going to be even more options for Harrisburg. And still no Dragon to be taken, but after they use the Rift Herald, they're going to get some more plates. They still have so much time to get more of that gold on the map and extend this big gold lead they have. And you've seen now the roam from Barlow up towards mid, just kind of trying to hover as much as they can, try to pick up as much of these kills as they can.
That was unfortunate that Unleash Power, not going to be burned just yet. They're able to at least flash away from that one, but I thought with the Scatter of the Week missing, that we'd see a death on Derive.
That flash was key. That flash was huge from Derive, and it will be missed, but at least you survive.
Ooh. Oh, doesn't want to go for it. But anytime I see the Scatter of the Week land for Derive, I'm going to look to see if they're going to look for a play. But Cheha here should just be dead. You've got the support right behind you, but they already noticed there's also going to be a little bit of a good squad showing up with Sunbay and Mephistopheles right behind.
Nothing to come of it. Very, very close. Yeah, playing with a lot of confidence there, and that's what you got to have in that kind of moment. Especially with the red white, be able to get some of that damage down with the Chakram.
A
little bit overconfident.
Here's the tidal wave. That's the calling. That's the cleanse. They take him down. Moonlight Vigil miss as Maykel looks to hunt him down, but they're going to be Mephistopheles on top of him. Will be able to get the kill over for Cheha, but now here's the Keeper's Verdict. Connects onto Nami, but now they're locked in. They're looking for Cheha. That Shorter is behind, kicking him in the face. Mephistopheles the next target, and the Goon Squad picks them all up in the bot lane.
The combo's too clean from Shorter Ace, and that's why you do not give Lee Sin over to this man. The fight in the top lane going about as wet noodle as it can possibly go, but man, that bot lane is a leaking sieve.
This is starting to look devastating for University of Maryland, where none of their lanes.
Ooh,
Lawrence, nice fancy feet right there.
Yeah, that was actually pretty impressive. First tower does go down with the Rift Herald used in bottom lane, so that's even more gold given over now. Almost 5,000 or 4,000 rather in the lead for Harrisburg. But the big point is that Shorter Ace is on a roll. He's got the Gore Drinker already, got the Merc Treads. Be back on the map going towards this dragon as well, and the pressure is just non-stop. You also see that Harrisburg have decided to kind of switch up the lanes already. Maykel, Barlow, they took the first tower. Now they're in mid lane. Pressure is there against Maryland.
But looking top lane, remember how I talked about like the Gnar Malphite matchup? It kind of sucks for Malphite unless you're somehow able to get ahead. Yeah, he didn't get ahead. Spoiler alert.
Didn't get that much help either. There was too much pressure on bottom lane. Exactly. And that's the thing, right? That's what I was talking about before in the draft. If you can get the upper hand as Mephistopheles on the Poppy, and you can help out these solo lanes, yeah, you can see where things go well, right? But the point of Harrisburg's composition is to not let you have that.
Exactly.
To be forcing you into the fights, and Shorter Ace has done a masterful job of doing so. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to do the whole catch and release thing when the fish is bigger than you, right?
Yeah. It's a little bit of a difficult situation for sure. You see that now, Harrisburg taking the
shark
dragon.
is a fish, right?
I would say, no? Fish have bones, right? Fish have bones, sharks
not necessarily.
Don't. Fish have bones?
Well, no, I'm saying sharks, they have cartilage, but they also have bones.
But, maybe. I don't know. Maybe we do some, what were you calling
You're supposed to know this. You're the one who studied animals.
I'm thinking about League of Legends right now, and you're telling me is a fish a shark? Is a shark a fish?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they are considered fish, but
okay.
I'm also not going to 100% say that. But
okay.
Look.
I mean, right now, they're trying to make these plays. That's a nice use of the jump into the wall onto Shorter Ace, but the kick back, it only gets him to his team instead of trying to get the kill. Now they got the flash in. That's going to be the wild growth on Mephistopheles. He's barely alive, but here comes trouble in the back line. 3 dead immediately as Derive wants to get some retribution, but just can't.
Wow. Very, very close to going kind of wrong for Harrisburg, but they piloted it very well, and Derive's the only one left in the fight as Cloudy has to use the TP top. And I will tell you, we have an investigation report coming in.
Oh, yeah?
Sharks are fish.
Woo! I was right.
Woo!
All right. Well, I'm glad I was right about that, because right now it looks like we were both right about Harrisburg with this gargantuan lead.
So
it's
far.
only 13 minutes into the game.
Yeah,
13
it
minutes.
feels like forever.
Right.
No one ever tells you.
No.
And it's also the fact that we're getting so much plate money. And I'm looking for actually Harrisburg to kind of continue pressing that, because if you look at top and mid, they've only got 1 plate in mid and 2 in top, which isn't bad for Lawrence, who has just been hard pressing Cloudy in the whole time. But especially with the transition in mid lane for the bot of Harrisburg, I would love to see them kind of try to get more plates here, but it's already too late.
Yeah, I think they're very comfortable having gotten the full-plated bot lane for Makel.
It's a big lead.
It's a bit of a big lead, especially when you look at the itemization. You have not only the Gale Force already completed for Makel, but he's holding on to that Serrated Dirk as you usually do with Lucian nowadays. High T Savage, nice Scout of the Week connected onto him, but no. I mean, granted, Drive does have one of the 2 mythics the team has. With that, Luden's already completed a bit ahead of Savage, but with this back, I'm betting Savage could buy that in a little bit more.
I'm just going to shout out Lawrence there, trying to bait Cloudy into an ult under tower with the Megadar ulti. But not gonna fall for it is Cloudy. Trying to get a little bit of damage on the bottom tower here for University of Maryland. Yeah, look at mid lane. Yeah, it's like the Sharks are roaming.
Yeah, I was about to say, we got a lot of Sharks here for Harrisburg. They're just hunting down their prey.
And you also, as you were kind of saying, the itemization breakdown, we also are just looking at full mythics across the board where you're missing a lot for University of Maryland. And that enables the play style that we set out from the very beginning for Harrisburg in this way, right? There's another Rift Herald up. Heike Savage is already pushing the topside tower with no real response coming out from Maryland, and that's going to be even more objective going their way.
Well,
it's a bit of a storm here, a storm of sharks. Would you call it a Sharknado? Oh my God, we put the pieces together, Magical.
Oh, the flash. This is not looking good. When you have Lawrence and I can solo you, boulder to the face. That's the shark getting his prey.
I don't know which iteration of Jaws this is, but there are sharks around. Even in mid lane, a little bit of aggression here, and it feels like Harrisburg is kind of thriving off of this emotion, off this aggression in this moment, especially. And a little bit of a cheeky flash there, thinking something was about to come out.
That was smart. He was expecting to see the ward hop behind him.
Yep.
And get kicked right into the enemy, so that's why he's like preemptive flash. I'm not not even giving you the chance.
It's a good way. It's to survive a death.
Oh, okay, Mephistopheles sees Barlow trying to recall by himself, but that's going to be flash over the wall. So you burn your flash and your ult, and you only get the flash at a Nami.
All right, you see pings coming down from the University of Maryland down towards the setup of Dragon, as it should be coming up here very shortly. And now actually back's being completed from the bottom lane. I was wondering, I saw Mephistopheles going forward and pinging forward. But I'm not going to get too much help there. So they're going to probably let the second dragon go.
Well, they couldn't. They had to get their mythics. They just got the Gale Force for Cheha. So it makes sense to me why they're like, you know, we know it's going to be up, but we're so far behind, even if we tried to fight over it at that moment, we'd not win. And now, shorter race behind, looks for Cloudy. Doesn't get the kick just yet. That's going to be the ward hop. That's the kick you need, and that's the second grub with the ult away. Cloudy will barely survive the unstoppable force, but here Derive. You had this happen once, and this time you're in a way worse position. Even if the ult misses, they got the wall up. They've got the boulder. Lawrence is the king of the top lane, and another solo kill will go to the Sharks that are Harrisburg.
Yeah, tried to use the power unleash there in the end, but not going to have enough power to unleash. And 2-0 Gnar on the top side. We said how domineering this top trio can be, but it's just been Harrisburg all the way around, led by a lot of the aggression that this team comp thrives off of. Oh no!
By Cheha. They got the Weaver's wall behind. They're looking at the skills, and they got it over the wall with the calling, and they even got Sunday flashing away, but Sunday does survive, does not take another rock to the face. Looking back, it will be the dragon that's taken, as well as getting that kill. So now Harrisburg goes back to the mid lane, look to see if they can conquer that turret.
You couldn't even see the culling come through pretty much. You could just see the little tip of it going through the wall. Feels bad, man, but great stuff from Harrisburg. And honestly, at this point, with the Rift Herald coming through here, the reset now coming out from Makel, I wonder, do we ever see boots for Makel at this point? Do we just see him go all the way without the boots?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Makel, I'd say, yeah, who needs boots? Sell the boots, more damage, that's the best way.
I'd say so. That is the way, they say.
Or, I mean, you could even just pull a me and be like, you know, what if I built some AP right now?
I don't. If they want to win this, I would say don't do that.
What do you mean? What are you trying to say? What are you trying to say?
Resurgence here. Look at this. This is bounties.
Hey, you know, that is a little bit of gold, but look who's behind them. The Goon Squad. They've got the Sonic Wave, but nice use of Steadfast Presence. Denies that engage, but getting the Seismic Shove onto Cloudy, taking a lot of damage for it as well. With all
they gotta
five.
respond to side lane.
Right, I was about to say, all five are mid lane for Maryland, and you can see that it's just going to be a constant storm around the map, constantly whittling away at the defenses of Maryland, where Harrisburg find even more advantages.
The Sharknado's moving around the map pretty seamlessly. But what I'd love to see there is the fact that Maryland are focusing mid lane, but Harrisburg have already done their due diligence and have huge pushing lanes in both side lanes and are pushing into the mid tower. That means that now Maryland has to respond to those side lanes and are going to be late to this mid lane defense where the Rift Herald is going to be dropped.
I keep forgetting that we're only 19 minutes into the game. And so seeing a Rift Herald pop like that.
Perfect setup from Harrisburg.
Right, it is.
Crazy.
They get 2 towers from this one, at least they should, but it will be cleared out. Ooh, Seismic Shove though onto Cheha. Gets a little bit of damage, but not nearly enough. They weren't ready. They didn't think that that was actually going to land with how they positioned.
Let's see, Lawrence still being a menace in the side lane as well. I think now Harrisburg's kind of taking the liberties. They got a little bit of damage on the mid-tier 2. They'll be setting up for more vision game around Baron, but right now it's just about how they want to use their aggression. Because without any, big objectives, unless they just want to burn Baron at this point with their gold lead, then you're going to have to just look for these picks that you've been able to consistently find.
But Lennon, look at the itemization. Just look how far behind. You don't even have the mythic yet for Sunbay. You don't have a second item for any member on the team, including Mephistopheles, that was the first one to complete the mythic for the team. This is just looking worse and worse by the second.
It is, definitely. And I think a comeback is far from likely, but it is possible if you can find the big engages around the Barons, if you can make them throw around the Barons, something along those lines.
Right.
But I think the execution is where you're looking at for Harrisburg now, and that's where, when I was talking about kind of that side lane pressure, where they're doing their due diligence in the side lane, getting those waves pushing and then moving to objectives, that's really nice to see as a control over this series, right, for Harrisburg, because if they are playing at that level, then it's going to be very hard for Maryland to find a foothold.
Exactly. At this rate, a 4v5 is still an advantage of the side of Harrisburg, but that nice catch out. Look at that. There goes a shutdown picked up by Derive. What a catch. Noticing the member was out by himself, but now Cloudy is getting chased down by Lawrence, or does he want to chase him instead? Got to be careful because we already see the power that Lawrence has. He's level 15. Nobody else on the side of Maryland is even close.
It's really, really rough. Everybody for Harrisburg University are on 2 items except for Barlow. That's pretty heavy at 21 minutes in.
Hey, though, that pick is still good because Drive goes back. I'm betting gets that Rabadons. So now you have even more damage coming in from their mid laner. And that's one thing that has kind of been drafted around. If you look at the other side, is there's not really that much resistances outside of some boots, right? So you actually have a good chance to burst them down if you're Derive, having that Rabadon's Death Cap that adds even more, plus a Thornmail. Now picked up by Mephistopheles to stop some of the healing, since the only real source of AP is going to be from Savage.
And we had talked about earlier as well as like the pick-out potential for University of Maryland. It's actually huge. You saw it there. Ike Savage got completely caught out, and the CC chain that can ensue from the likes of a Malphite, a Poppy, a Syndra, even if you have the right guns, right, the Aphelios. I think it's so important that if they catch out the right member, they're dead, and the execution follows that way. It's like domino.
Yeah, but they still have to play cautiously. Just because they're able to get one good pick does not mean they're in the lead, because you can see how they're flanked by Lawrence on the other side, but he's not got the Mega stacked up. So they look for the play.
They tried.
Able to get the knock-up, and that's the catch you need for Maryland.
Dominoes!
But
dominoes falling unless it goes the other direction here, Magical.
I was about to say, I already called out before. The 4v5 is still very strong for Harrisburg. So they're essentially on even footing now. It's not like you have this massive NR that you have to worry about flanking. Now you have to worry about getting picked off like that, where you get caught out, you get the bubble, you take the calling to the face, but Cloudy is pretty tanky, and they got the damage on the Mephistopheles, who flashed away. He'll survive, but the Sonic Wave from Shorter Ace does not get followed up on the Jeha. Instead, they're looking to see if they can chunk out these members, use their power from range to make sure that Maryland, with a low Mephistopheles, cannot take this dragon, so they will be the ones with soul point.
This is so 50-50 magical. Harrisburg don't want to let it go. Mephistopheles has no health, so you can't really be in the fight, but he's got fruits.
No.
They're not going to go for it.
Lawrence just got up. He's got TP available. They have to bail.
There was a bounty waiting, but it is not enough to lure them into the fight, as they were just losing too much health from the poke of Savage on the side. But this is where, again, Harrisburg, the way they're playing, they already have a wave onto the tower as University of Maryland have to back away, so they're going to get a tier 2 as well.
A little stumble with a couple picks that came out from Maryland finding members of Harrisburg. But all in all, it still is them in a commanding lead. Getting that turret, getting that dragon, they are at soul point potential. And despite what Cubby likes to say, Cubby is someone that Mazel and I work with over at the Academy scene. A soul is a soul. I don't care if it's an ocean soul.
Very true. It is something to play for. It is something to watch for as well. As they see University of Maryland have their sights elsewhere, as they need to make sure vision is around the Baron with how much of a lead Harrisburg have and how their composition plays out. They want to look for these picks, and vision is so important here.
Yeah,
we saw how it kind of worked out for them in front of the Dragon Pit there. They weren't able to execute and capitalize, but here they are.
They have vision inside the jungle too, so they saw the pathing of Lawrence. I thought they would actually just fully commit, try to see if they can pick him off, since what else are they really playing around? You don't have to worry about Mako being in time for that
Look at the
Baron.
side lanes.
Right. And
it's always in Harrisburg's favor. They are always getting their side lanes in perfect order, it seems.
Well, that's why I would have liked it if they fully committed to just pick Lawrence. They get him. They don't have to worry about the Baron being taken that quickly. And then they rotate immediately up towards the Baron themselves and look for the fight around that with the same kind of foothold they had before.
Could have tried, but not. There is the execution. And now we see the University of Maryland squad kind of hovering around this mid lane. Not able to kind of keep the pressure on the side lanes either.
No, a smart move, though, from University of Maryland. Gnar was in Mega, had TP up, so if they even think about trying to
pushing.
Well, I mean, yes, you're going to push because in a couple seconds you're going to have that back up. But it's a good call from Maryland not to play aggressively here. They are looking to see if someone is misstepping. Someone is too far out of position so they can punish that.
TP not up for Cloudy just yet. Lawrence does have his Meganar coming up. You see a lot of aggression.
Yeah, and that's going to be the calling. Looking for the Keeper's Verdict. It hit Savage, but nobody wanted to go any further. They were too afraid of the damage that comes in from Shorter Ace and Mako.
They turn. I think they just turn here. I don't know if University of Maryland have what it takes to kind of fight this fight. They have to deal with Lawrence in the top side. They have 3 in the mid lane. But Baron has already started.
Exactly. They're already starting it up. And that's the thing when you have the Lucian on your team that's pretty far ahead. He can burst that down very quickly. All the while, Cloudy's trying to get the attention of Lawrence so he can't TP into this fight, but it's going to be the TP from him instead into the mid lane. They're looking for this play, but they will lose that inhibitor turret likely. Looking for the flank. Looking for the flash. Oh. The flash away from Savage was perfect to make sure that there was no fight, and Lawrence can try to take this inhibitor turret.
The fingers are fresh from Harrisburg in this game, number 1. Their flashes have been so on point, and here you go.
What a cancel there. That turret will fall all off the back of Barlow, finding the flash in, looking for the damage.
Trying.
Unleashed power. Shorter Ace is still alive. Mephistopheles looking to see if he can collapse, but that's going to be the hop away, and they get nothing. Well,
they have to do
takes
something.
Out the bot lane. He might be able to get an exit turret at this rate.
That's insane, and they're going to continue to try to stop the back. The back is going to go through for Jeha,
yeah,
but
look at this.
That's Lawrence.
Lawrence is just going for the back door. They're fully committing. They're keeping the members of Maryland outside of their base. Cloudy is about to fall. The hop over the wall. Cloudy falls and dies, but they have the fight around it. Well, that's going to be the back coming in from Lawrence, and they have a lot of low members on the side of Harrisburg. They could chase, but Sunday, he's too low. The flash in. It's going to be Shorter Ace with the assassination. Well, they get assassination on the back line from Mako as well. What looked like a bad position has all turned topsy-turvy for Maryland as they are completely routed.
Ouchies, I will say. That was really rough. They got so close There were so many tight moments there where it was like, oh, the University of Maryland coming back to it. But it's just a gold lead difference. And the fact that Cheha had to be the one to go respond to Lawrence is not what you want to see for the University of Maryland. But he had to. He's the only one that was available to go there, the only one that was able to sneak out. And now Harrisburg have Baron and have all the rule of the map they could ever want.
Man, when Sharknado is in full force, it is scary out there. Even if you think you got a big old rock that you're throwing into the mouth of the shark, it just crunches down on that rock and crunches down onto you.
It ain't looking good. I hope you brought your ponchos. I don't know if that's going to help at this point.
I was about to say, would a poncho really help in a
Maybe.
Sharknado?
I mean, at least you won't be as wet, I guess, if it's Sharknado. Dragon's coming up now, though. Harrisburg are already positioned around it. They can just pick a fight out of it and probably win the game from it. But we would expect the crossing of the T's, dotting of the I's here for Harrisburg would mean that they get this soul for themselves.
I was about to say, speaking of looking for some picks, there's a bit of damage on Cloudy. He's itemized, as Malfights usually do, to try to fight against the 80 forces of Harrisburg. But if you get that damage, oh no, this is not good at all. You can see the recalls are coming out because they realize they're falling. They realize what's about to happen. They might take the dragon, but the base is in tatters. Mid lane will fall. They've got minions. They've got Baron Mazel. This is just it. They're just going to push down for win.
They literally are just going to end the game. The Weaver's Wall's here. The defense is not.
They got it. Hikey Savage getting the kill and going. Looking for Cloudy as well. The Cloudy survives. Now the Colling's turn. It rips them apart. And there's no church. There's no hope for University of Maryland in this first game. It will be a 29-minute victory for Harrisburg.
Add insult to injury. If this didn't work out, top lane was still pushing that tier 2. And Harrisburg University come out swinging just like we said we wanted to see from one of these teams in game number 1 of this best of 3. And it's the way they controlled the map. It's the aggressive picks that they chose and then executed on. You got to see the Lee Sin for shorter race, and it worked out beautifully. The cohesion of the Harrisburg squad is on point today. And as I said, their hands are fresh. They're on Sharknado point.
I mean, with the flashes they had to get away from certain things, just always in the right place. Right here, this play is what we were talking about before, where it looked so close that Maryland might have had a chance, except look where Makel is on the map.
Yep. He had to go back and defend against Lawrence. He was the only one that was able to make it out of the little brush because he hadn't been seen south of the ward from Harrisburg. You see south of Barron. And he was the only one that could make it back to base to stop them from losing the game earlier than they did. So I understand the situation, but it's just unfortunate.
It's unfortunate, but it is still a victory for Harrisburg, dominating that first game of this best of 3 in the playoffs. We're going to toss this at a break. When we come back, we'll give you here for game 2 between Harrisburg University and between the University of Maryland. Make sure you stay tuned. Hello, welcome back into the Star League. We saw that first game dominated by Harrisburg. Those were our predictions too. We thought that Harrisburg would have the upper hand here against the University of Maryland. But I look towards this game too, and I want to know, or at least get your thoughts. Do we see Maryland try to really change things up? Because they try to have more of a meta style, try to counter at the catch and release style that just didn't seem to work out against Harrisburg. Or do we get to have more fun? Do we get to see like the Rengar from Mephistopheles?
I mean, I think you obviously have to find a little bit of change with the draft that you had. Finding a lane with priority as well as something that's going to be strong. I love the Poppy. I think Mephistopheles looked too good on the Poppy. But I think it's also about how that ties into the rest of the comp. The Syndra in mid lane was having a rough time. If it was going even in the early part of the laning phase, that's fine. But then you got to see the movement from Savage from the mid lane on the Talia, and that's what unlocks the mid lane combo for Harrisburg. So I would like to see some change in the solo lanes, maybe a little bit more priority gained in those solo lanes to help Mephistopheles. But that's the big change I would want to see. And some stability in bot lane. I think the comp was fine, but then once you got that influence from shorter race on the Lee Sin in bot lane, it was impossible to play that 2v2.
Yeah, and then you kind of look towards bans and think, okay, what can possibly University of Maryland? Well, yes, but if you look at a lot of their bans they had because they were on red side, they took away a lot of things that were already really strong in the hands of Harrisburg, such as the Aatrox that I look towards for Lawrence, something that he has dominated. Even back before he was really OP and people are like, oh, this is the top laner to be. He was playing this guy and he was smashing.
But also, I mean, the Gnar looked really good. And I think you have to find a response in some sort of way where you're going to find a fighter, bruiser, or something that can be strong in the top lane but have influence. I think the Malphite was an okay choice to try to get those catch-outs. You saw those couple times that did work out, right? It looked really good. The combo of that CC chain from the top trio was really huge, but it has to come down to ease of execution and things that work in more than one scenario where you're catching out one member. So I would like to see a little bit of that.
Yeah, they really have to find a way to kind of temper that early aggression because we pretty much saw almost every lane winning out except for maybe mid lane. And then all that it took was Shorter A showing up one time. It's like, all right, that's the...
After having picked up 2 kills bot lane.
Exactly.
With the mid lane, yeah. That's the combo you're looking for, and that's where you need to see that communication, at least for Harrisburg, who are the, at least our favorites coming into this one in terms of the two in skill level and wanting to see kind of Harrisburg continue to execute the way they did. I was highlighting the way that they were manipulating side lanes and setting up for objectives and the control they had around the map. If you get that again, it's going to be very difficult for Maryland to approach that. But that's, again, asking Harrisburg to find that composition again, find that execution again. That's where the draft is going to be so important, trying to ban out some of those pieces we saw. And just force Harrisburg to do something different. Because if you give them the same, I feel like you're going to get the same response.
Right. It's just going to be pretty much the same kind of gameplay. Though I do expect it to be side swapped going into this game, where we will see Maryland on the side of blue, Harrisburg red, which could open up a little bit more opportunities for Maryland to try to see if they want to get some comfort picks or even steal away certain picks such as Syndra.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'd want to see the Syndra. Maybe go with something like the Azir or things along those lines. It was banned last game. So if it does get through,
yeah, I was about to say, I think it's going to be banned.
If it does get through, I mean, that's a little bit of that safety, a little bit of that priority that we were looking for, right? And it's just trying to find those pieces that are going to enable that for Maryland. And in the way that they approach bot lane as well, I think it's okay to go with something safe along those lines and hope that you get to the late game. But when you're going against an aggressive comp that you know that Harrisburg can play around, it's really difficult. And I would like to see something that kind of butt heads against that.
That's a fair point, actually. I agree with you. You got me on your side with this one because I'm like, yeah, I want to see the Syndra taken away. I want to see Rengar picked up. And it's like, maybe got to be careful, especially against a team like Harrisburg that can punish.
It's playoffs. Come on, best of 3. You got one more. I mean, it's match point right now for Harrisburg, and if Maryland want to, at least have a good showing in their first best 3 of playoffs, you'd want to see it come through here in game 2.
That is. I mean, obviously they have to, because then they lose. Because then they lose the best of 3.
Is that how this works?
That is usually how it works, at least the last time I calculated it. But then again, I've also been watching a lot of Season 1 Worlds, and it was weird because they would give like certain teams like a 1-game advantage.
Like a time capsule?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, God. It's
is
crazy.
That where you're stuck?
Yeah,
Stuck in the time
brain,
capsule.
my brains back then when AP Scion was the greatest thing ever because all you had to do was worry about two abilities. It was your
True.
shield and your stun, and then as you stun them and pop your shield, you just dance for a bit because the stun was like 2.5 seconds. Pop the shield, and then boom, you're dead. But you know what? Enough of us rambling about old times. We are going to toss it to a break as the teams are still getting ready for this game, so stick around. We'll be right back. Hello, welcome back to the NA Star League. Sorry about that. We did have a little bit of an issue that we're trying to resolve, and we have. So here is what the draft looks like that you can see. This happened on Pro Draft. That was happening during the break so that we could get everything sorted out. And so, Lennon, I got to ask you, what stands out besides the beat boop?
Well, we got a little bit of background information to kick us off here, though, getting a little help showing that the Lysandra ban was the last ban from Maryland, but there was a moment where they were going to ban the Lee Sin. They switched it at the last moment. Therefore, we did see the Lee Sin come through yet again for shorter Ace of Harrisburg. And the way that their composition turned out last time around that Lee Sin, terrifying. And they have, I feel like, a lot of the same stuff in the right direction for Harrisburg right now, with a lot of the aggression from the solo lanes, the bot lane working out really well with the CC chains. But Maryland, they come out with a very interesting response to try to keep them alive here. That Samira in the bot lane, the Akali is the aggression, the Viego being in there. I think there are a lot of answers, but the skirmish-heavy prowess of Maryland and the comp that they drafted will be kind of the response we wanted from them coming out of game number 1, right? We want to see them butt heads with Harrisburg, and I feel like they have much more of a stable and more easily executable composition to do so this time around.
Are you just going to skip over the Blitzcrank pick?
Yes.
Why?
Because I knew that's exactly what you were about to talk about.
I love the Blitzcrank here in the spot lane because you have two fairly
I know you
immobile.
too well. I know you too well.
Hey, Blitzcrank is one of my favorites. They're bringing back Rod of Ages, even though they're changing the splash art, and right,
Oh
really
my
should make sure
God.
they're not doing that.
Don't do that.
But Blitzcrank bot lane, great into Vars, great into Renata, because anytime they look like they want to come towards you, you're just like, ha ha ha, you're mine. No way to get out of this one.
I feel like the Renata's okay into it. I feel like if you get grabbed, right, you just instant handshake right back, or at least get the shield from the. Oh my goodness, I can't even remember it anymore.
But I know what you mean. The Rockets. Oh, yes.
Hey, but this is look.
Yes,
this is what I was saying. I wanted level 1 from Maryland. I wanted to see something.
Called? What is this called?
Death
you know?
Rush?
No, shenaniganeries. Oh, the
Oh!
He's been caught. The beat boop will kill him. They give the kill to Derive.
Maryland, you did it! By golly, you've done it! Oh my God, that's exactly the style we wanted. But
Derive's got his back canceled. Now, Sunbay, barely missing that. Now I like the attempt there to try to look for a play. Now, Sunbay will defend, try to make sure that Derive can go spend up that little bit of an influx of gold.
What a way to kick it off here.
Let's go.
First blood for Derive. We wanted to see a setup.
Lennon. Shenaniganeries.
We wanted to see the setup around mid lane as well. We were saying, it was the closest lane out of everywhere last game around. And now with a bit of a easier, I guess, more easily executable mid lane, or maybe with more damage at least there, it's going to be a lot easier for Derive to kind of find that. And I really want to see this mid lane be pressed and utilize that a little bit more. But bot lane,
Barlow took a lot of damage. Nice shield, though, will keep him fairly topped off. So it was a pull attempted, and Sunbait not having recalled is very low on mana. So this is actually going to make this more towards the side of Makel and Barlow, as you kind of talked about. You have the shields that you need. You also have some pretty good peel back if you want to use the handshake to make sure that you're finding the spot lane. With less of a threat from the pulls coming in from Sunbay, this should be Makel and Barlow winning for a little bit.
should be at least. And I want to see how the response of shorter race comes through here. We saw early on the pathing in game number 1 go his way.
The God pull! That was a blind onto Barlow too, but Jehan took a lot of damage for it. Makel having that level 2 is able to punish it.
But again, you can see that pulling in Barlow doesn't do as much as say you were going to get Makel. And I continuously want to see that give and take of the bot lane of University of Maryland with that Blitzcrank pick, keeping Harrisburg on their toes. And you see actually shorter race pathing down this bottom side, so is Mephistopheles. This top lane not going Cloudy's way.
I was about to say, Lawrence died first blood, still getting the lead and the advantage in this top lane. Has the level advantage, health advantage, everything advantage essentially, while Cloudy's just saying, all right, I hope I can clear out from under my turret.
Should be okay for now. The big fight will be around that bottom lane at some point, or maybe circling back up to the mid lane, because I think a bit of a ping pong game between these two lanes will be very, very important for both sides of the ball, right? And you already see Mephistopheles having skipped over the Gromp, going out towards the Scuttle Crab, trying to continue that pressure up. And right now, he's actually set up in a pretty nice position with the roam from Sunbay as well.
I like this. So this is one thing with playing Blitzcrank that you pretty much have to do. It is in the guidelines of every person that picks Blitzcrank to get a little book in the mail. And it says, as Blitzcrank, once you hit level 2, you leave that lane and you go elsewhere. You look, I like that attempt on the prediction because he was looking for the distortion away from Savage.
Look at this, though.
Oh, and now Mephistopheles.
The lane gank.
In the bot
lane. They don't know Shorter Ace is there. They think it's a 2v2.
The cleanse away, the flash, and it's Jayha chased down by Shorter Ace and Mephistopheles. You're 1v3. You gotta hope Blitzcrank can get there in time, but the piercing arrow and the pullback on to Shorter Ace. But here's Derive. I don't know if they necessarily want this. They've got the Shuriken flip away, but can they kill Shorter Ace? He's low. The bailout. He's up. He survives.
Oh my God!
Goal. And look at Beep Boop trying to get away, but it's his last hurrah.
I just saw a shark fly past my window. I think Sharknado's back. I don't know. This is insanity. Just like that, the snap of a finger, Shorter Ace and Maykill end up 2-0-2. And Harrisburg just run away with the early game.
That is so rough for Maryland. Things looked like they were going well, too, having gotten the first blood for Derive in mid lane, making sure that they at least weren't losing too heavily in the spot lane. Now, like you talked about, a 2-0-2 Vars and a 2-0-2 Lee Sin. Both of them, right out of the gates, gonna look so powerful. And even though Ike Savage hasn't been a part of these ones, he's been farming up very well. And soon enough, he's just gonna say, all right, I don't want to fight Akali, I want to fight bot lane.
Yeah, there was a pretty big wave that they just crashed. Also, a solo play going over to Cheha, so at least something back for the Terps. But the Dragon coming up and that advantage, at least going Harrisburg's way, I would imagine them putting even more focus on
another
the jungle camp.
Barlow.
Again, onto Barlow. It does do a decent amount, but then you get the handshake right out.
And look at Sunbay, still level 2. Getting
Look at that.
The flash away, will survive. Cheon went back in. A little bit surprising there. You need to be able to get towards your Blitzcrank so you can dash out, but he just cannot get back in time. And a killing spree will be picked up by Makel.
That's a big killing spree for Varus, and now
Sunbay.
Shorter Ace about to find even more fruit from the trees.
Let's
here.
See, how good is Sunbay's dodging skills here? You got a lot to dodge here. Cannot dodge them all. An easy pickup for Shorter Ace.
And on top of that, they already have a double stack minion wave going into the turret. That's turret plates abound here. But look, Mephistopheles, he's bot lane as well.
Yeah, but we saw what happened last time. He was there when they thought they had some advantages. He's got to find Shorter Ace in the jungle, who he does have a lead over.
They're surrounding him.
Yeah, they're surrounding him, but guess who's here? Barlow's here. He's got bailout if they need to. The handshake.
The handshake.
What a play coming in from Barlow and making sure that they can get him out easily.
Thank you, sir. I'll walk away with my jungler. That's pretty much all we saw right there.
Yep, exactly. It was a handshake. It was literally a handshake.
That's exact. Thank you.
You get your jungle, I get my jungler.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And I think we've seen the domination now in early game from Harrisburg twice in a row. For the second game, we thought Maryland getting that first blood early on, the level 1 we wanted to see was going to work out for them. This composition, this kind of fight back at the early game is not working out for them. And bot lane, again, is not that stable source that we would want it to be. And it's yes, those early pulls were working out, but now you find yourself with a huge advantage for Harrisburg on bottom side of the map. Again, like last game, enabling the rest of these very roam-heavy, very mobile solo lanes plus jungle composition to kind of do what they do.
Now, I appreciate right there, Derive still looking for these plays. Rotating top, but a good control word had been placed down earlier by Lawrence. At least I believe it was Lawrence. Though, Derive there, that was quite a trip. Trying to get back towards Savage.
Savage was baiting that out.
Yeah, he is.
He was waiting.
Perfect execution. Does he follow it up?
Oh!
Derive! Solo kill Savage. Now the dodgeball skills just not there. Shorter Ace is on point this game, but the red buff will not be enough to take the kill on top to get revenge for his lane.
That was so close. Love to see Sunbay coming in there just to support if he needed.
Okay, wait. Can we just talk about how Barlow is the same level as Cheha and was literally fighting by himself, Cheha, and now they get the cleanse already out of the chains. So Barlow pretty much sets up more plates to go in Makel's pocket.
Yeah, it's again, bot lane is is not going the Terps' way. Shorter Race again hovering down here. He knows that they can play around this side once they get some strength down here in Sunbay.
Yeah, bye-bye. And by Jeha. Shorter Race shows up here. He already had the follow-up. They got the damage. At least there will be a trade top lane. A kill for Mephistopheles, but it's 2 for only 1.
Yeah, at least something for the jungler of University of Maryland.
Derive, he is there, but I would be surprised if he went and didn't have the ult.
So I will just say Mephistopheles using that top lane kill, now going for the Rift Herald here as well. Shorter Race does not want to let that happen, immediately starts heading there from base. So see if he can get there in time. He's just going to let it go. You see Savage going up that way as well.
But they have Aatrox there, Cloudy in the wings, looking to make sure they can defend this as Savage is looking to get
he has the smite. He has the smite.
And takes down Savage.
Oh my goodness. It just falls from worst to worst here. The dominoes I was talking about, they're falling the wrong way here. And Sharknado's coming to bear. Those dominoes starting to fly around. It's actually crazy. The timing there for Shorter Ace, he had to get there. But Mephistopheles used the smite earlier on, and so didn't have the smite to finish it off. That's why he was kind of trying to bait out, but Savage gets there super early from mid lane. There's nothing that Maryland can do about it. They try to push into mid lane a little bit more, having moved their at least duo from bot lane to mid.
All right, so the snowball composition for the Terps, not really looking too hot at the moment. So this is where their backs are against the wall here. There is no choice. It is win this game or lose the series. What can they do to make sure they can claw their way back into this game?
I mean, just keep trying to find those picks with Sunbay and Derive. Honestly, Derive is the one power point right now. I think Cloudy will be strong later on, and we'll have some strength in terms of trying to deal with Lawrence in the side lane. But right now, you've got to make sure that Derive is set up and get all the resources you possibly can into the mid lane. I think Cheha is important, but right now that lead in bot lane is way too far gone, and I can't actually am interested that Mephistopheles wants to focus even more so down here.
Yeah, but look at the Goon squad. We have Shorter Ace and Savage already on their way. Can they show up in time to save this bot lane? The flash comes in with a knockup on a Mako, but they got the hostile takeover. They've got the damage. The pole comes back in on a Mako, but Shorter Ace saves
the bailout.
Bailing them all out in the bot lane.
Oh my god, I can't watch it. Sharknado 7. It's happening again. Oh, everything just goes the wrong way for Maryland. Every single time. You think that they're going to get something. They haven't. The bailout comes at the last second and denies the kills over. Oh my goodness. All right, here comes Derive.
Okay, Derive. He flipped himself in. He's looking for Barlow, has the backup behind. No, dives in on a Mako, but got the nice, easy exhaust. Looking for the bailout and will easily be bailed out.
Again, coming up clutches Barlow. Sunbay not really able to help out his mid lane. Derive actually feeling like he'll be going a little bit ham there.
He thought that he had enough damage. It was the exhaust.
I think he missed one of the pieces of the combo because he went towards Maykel with the second piece of the perfect execution, but I think he missed the auto attack. Like the extra auto. But anyways, it is just a huge advantage for Harrisburg right now. 5,000 gold, 6,000 gold in the lead. They'll be looking at trying to get these towers down in mid and top, but at least a dragon, first dragon of the game, going over to the University of Maryland.
You know, respect to University of Maryland. They had that first blood play that worked out well, but everything's been crumbling since, yet they still aren't giving up. They're still looking for these plays. Drive, even looking for another solo kill on a Savage, but without perfect execution, doesn't have the confidence.
Doesn't have Sunbay right next to him either there to follow him up. And honestly, at this point, I feel like you just need to be saving your combos for Shorter Race and Maykel. They are very strong, but if you catch out a Barlow...
Barlow, this is just going to be an easy pickup for them. They've got a kill from Mephistopheles, getting this Viego back in the game too. 2, 3, and 1. Even though he doesn't have that many, much else going his way, at least he starts looking like he's going to be able to get that Divine Tsundere.
And that's exactly what we were saying for at least the University of Maryland is get Sunbay out, try to enable this mid lane. If you can, try to get Mephistopheles some kills. That's huge, but especially getting Derive even more resources that maybe get shut down.
Chain of Corruptions gets kicked away. Couldn't even put down the Twilight Shroud.
Sorry for the caster curse there, Derive. I apologize.
That's why I was like, I heard the dun-dun, dun-dun, dun-dun in the background. it like you could hear
production
it a mile
play
away.
for you. Oh man, I need to give you some of that.
Oh, no, it's called being crazy.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because
Okay.
then you can hear things.
I don't know if I want to give you some of that, but maybe I'll look at the ads. I'll see what happens. Maybe this is good investment.
All right.
Maykel just full on taking another few turret plates at the top side.
I think he
more
might just
gold
take the
going over
turret.
as well.
Yeah. Like, right now, it is just under that 14-minute mark, so the plates are still up. Sunbay is looking for this play. Oh, double distortion. Nice from Savage. And look at the top lane. That's another plate, and that's going to be the turret gone under 14 minutes.
You know, I actually, going into this, I would think that, or I was thinking, Shorter Race would put a little bit more focus towards these solo lanes. So we've actually seen the solo lanes be kind of left out to some extent and need to be pulled bot lane, because Shorter Race, these last 2 games, has been holistically focusing on this duo of Maykel and Barlow, and it's working out so well for Harrisburg because the other 2 members in Savage and Lawrence are experienced. They know how to play these side lanes. That's why you keep seeing these side lanes set up so well for Harrisburg, because you have these 2 veterans that are working the side lanes while Shorter Race is just shoving it up the gut with Maykel and Barlow. I think this combination makes Harrisburg so scary, as this is their first entrance into the playoffs.
Well, and see, I like this too. I love seeing teams adapt and kind of switch up strategies that will catch people off guard, because that's, if you look at this comp drafted by Maryland, this is a comp meant to try to see if they can get their bot lane ahead. And Shorter Race realizes that and says, all right, that's not happening. I'm not going to let that happen. And that was almost the same last game, where he's like, oh, it's a safe bot lane, and I have a bot lane that kind of wants to get ahead. I'm going to get them ahead.
Yeah, exactly, and it's working out for Harrisburg very well here in terms of kind of bending those strategies to attack your opponent and what your opponent wants to do. And that's the control that we've seen not only in their strategy, but in the gameplay and execution as well.
You can see here, Harrisburg really want to fight. 15 minutes into the game, they're like, not enough action has happened already. We're now under that kill a minute. They have 14 kills. They're like, we need to up the numbers.
Is that your the approach here? Just got to get the numbers right, man. The numbers, what do they mean, Mason?
Exactly.
Rift Herald, though, this could be a fight. It looks like the University of Maryland actually want to contest over this.
I don't think they're going to get there in time. You can see the Shroud put down. No way they could even contest. All they can do is hope that they can fight around it, as Cloudy, looking for a solo fight against Lawrence, was able to stop the back, but that blast cone was able to get him back. Now dashing over the wall with an Umbral Dash. The flash into, not connecting. That last Umbral Glaive, not Umbral Glaive, Darkened Blade connected. That was going to be it.
That was could have really found something. I was looking at the minimap while we were looking at that side lane fight. Sunbay was just fishing from that pixel brush, just looking for somebody. Tried to get somebody on the Rift Herald pickup, the eye pickup as well. Ended up being Barlow who grabbed that one. They're going to utilize it immediately in mid lane as well to get as much more gold as they can.
Well, again, this goes back to the whole fishing metaphor we set up before. It's kind of hard to fish when you're trying to fish for sharks. They're a lot bigger than you, and even when you get them, the Sharknado might be a really difficult thing to go against. And now Lawrence the turret he will. One v2 gets the kill as Shorter Race looks for Cloudy. No World Ender, the smite, and guess who's here? It's his duo. It's his buddy, best friend to show up. Even if Cloudy's getting a lot of damage to the kill, they might be able to get this. Look at this. It is a level.
Savage is like, nah, bro. Let's move out. I don't want this.
Sunbay shows up looking for the pull, the flash in just to get the punch, looking for the damage. And here they could get Shorter Race, but are they going to get the pull? He's gone golden now. The Nike Savage did not get the execute he needed to onto Sunbay, but he does have the backup of Barlow. This
so
seems
close.
like the clown show right now. Just more and more keep coming out of the car. And Sunbay gets spotted in the
Oh my god.
Cloudy by himself again, looking to see what damage he can do, and he's getting chased, but he'll survive.
Oh my god.
Survive! Looking for the shuriken flip, the perfect execution in the back one, but the shields are huge. The Rive has no damage. He dies, and look at Chase. Oh, you just the back line, but the bailout again! Maykel is godlike.
Oh, my heart is shattered for Maryland. Oh my god, no matter what you throw at the wall, it doesn't matter if it's a sticky tack. That thing ain't sticking. I don't know what to say. You try your darndest. You're picking people out. You're trying to take these fights. Cloudy is overextending on the Aatrox and leads to a carousel fight. The bailouts! Like, Barlow is a monster. He's literally a monster. Things you will see in your nightmare are those bailouts.
I mean, he has been on point with those.
That is insane. And now you look at the kill scores, right? Like 8-0-6 for Shorter Race, 7-0-7 for Maykel. They just don't die. They just don't die.
The only one who seems to be dying is Lawrence in this top lane. But if you
talk about that.
Yeah. But he's also been put on an island by himself. Hasn't really gotten any attention from his team. So the fact that you have such a gargantuan lead in other lanes, it is 8,000 right now over Maryland. With their first dragon of the game, all of the tier 1 turrets are already toppled. Now they're just looking for those tier 2.
And I just can't go back and harp on Harrisburg playing this so well.
Oh, no, Gerard,
so
you got
far.
baited in. He thought he had the damage. He does have perfect execution. And he flashes.
Oh, he went to the wrong one.
What a distortion.
Oh, man. What a play. Honestly.
He just touched it.
Yeah, honestly, I feel you. I feel you, Derive. You wanted that one. I feel you. It didn't come up, though, and Heike Savage stays just that. Just kind of savage. But in all actuality, like, you can attempt those kinds of plays for Maryland, especially the composition, the deficit that you have, and I think that's always fair play.
It is. And honestly, it's just one of those things that it was a great reaction from Savage. 9 out of 10 times that works on any other player, but Savage was just on point. The whole side of Harrisburg, the Sharknado that we've set up for them, have been, their hands have just been perfectly ready for every reactionary play.
Yeah, they must have had some good warm-ups or eaten good breakfast this morning because it's working out for them so far, and they are looking to close out a 2-0 best-of-3 here with this gigantic lead. But we saw the potential for those picks that can happen. The resets are still alive for Viego. We all know those very well. And Cloudy will still be a menace on the Aatrox, so there's still some playability from University of Maryland.
But it's not like last time where they actually had some good scaling that could back them up a little bit more. Here, they are about getting themselves. I mean, you have okay scaling, but you want to be ahead. You still need to make sure that you're not 2-5 as Akali, 3-4 as Viego. Samir 0-5 only now has gotten that shield bow, and you can see this fight. Look at how much damage Sunbay takes. He's got the hostile takeover on top of him, so they can just follow up and get Lawrence a free kill.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate. You expect some backup there, but it's not going to be there because then everybody dies. And
it's just too far behind
for the call. Yeah, just too far behind, especially with the way the Blitzcrank pick works. But here in mid lane, not going to find it.
Again, gets out of there.
But like that's just how the cookies crumble for Blitzcrank. You've got that's the way the style works when you play Blitzcrank. You got to pull somebody in. You got to have that engage, and you need to be looking for those things all the time. Now, when you get to a deficit like this, it's not always going to work out for you, but at least you're still trying to play towards the structure of the play.
At this point, he's better off not even looking for the engages. Better off just trying to protect Cheha. Anytime someone tries to dive in, that's where you rocket punch. Keep distance for them. If they try to chase down Cheha, that's when you use the rocket grab to keep them towards you and not towards Cheha.
And in the end, it's about the setup, at least for Harrisburg, because at this point, they are literally just looking at the side lane saying, let's just group up 3 or 4 people, leave Lawrence at the side lane to his own devices and find picks. But maybe we'll actually see them collapse
from
here.
That Darkened Blade. Look at this. They have all 4 members now with the TB burnt into the bot lane. Samara will show up soon.
I thought he was taking it.
Yeah, I thought he was going to take it too, but does not. Instead, respects it, say, you know what? I don't know where Samira is. I don't want to jump in, but the pull comes back in.
Shades of Corruption went wide.
Yeah, hey, you know what? The pulls are working out for Sunbay, but like you kind of talked about, who's doing the damage?
Yeah, the follow-up is just not there right now for the kind of style that they're playing, but you imagine that Chains of Corruption lands, that's probably another one bites the dust there and Baron for Harrisburg, which at this point they might be just looking to do anyways. I would expect they would pull off that one because I don't know if they don't have the composition for that right now as much as they did in game number 1, but you can see that they're just trying to press every advantage they possibly can, which might end up getting them punished.
Like, this is, you know, more of the attack speed kind of on-hit build coming in from Makel. Oh, but here, Turtle Race. What a dodge! Derive, not again! Not again!
Oh
it happened to him again! He gets outplayed and dodged away. Mephistopheles was at least able to get revenge, but
he got a 1,000 gold shutdown.
You just gotta feel bad for Derive, right?
Yeah, that is really rough, especially on the Kali with all the big plays that you could possibly make, and then they fall through your fingers like sand. It's not the way you want to go. But 1,000 gold for Mephistopheles. That's huge. Get a little bit more gold for the Viego, and you can see that potential there again that we kind of highlighted already.
I should be able to recall after getting that Scuttle Crab and pick up what I'm imagining is going to be a Blade of the Ruined King. Right? Or is that... Let's see.
We're going to find out soon enough, Mr. Magical.
Aha! I was right.
The Blade of the Ruined King.
With the
new graphic.
Yeah. Actually, I kind of like that because they ended up making, Viego all like green and white. So it's like, it's supposed to be his blade. You might as well keep it like...
Bring back the purple sword!
No. We only bring back the purple Rod of Ages.
I mean, Rod of Ages is still purple.
No, they made it green.
Just a different purple.
They made it green.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. All right. So Cloudy actually has a level lead there. And with the Black Cleaver as well, plus that Eclipse, this is going to be rough for Lawrence to actually try to fight against. Especially when you're going on
tower shot.
Yeah, especially when you take a free tower shot like that. You don't have your hook shot anymore, so you could get chased down. There's going to be the hook shot away. But look how fast Cloudy is. Shen! The shields, though! Is it enough? It won't help out. Barlow was not able to get in range for bailout.
I think it was maybe just sunk cost fallacy there. I think it was all over. But Barlow just kind of pulling out of that one. That's a huge side lane pick out for Cloudy, though, and now that means that University of Maryland can try to clear out some of this vision around the Baron Pit, feel a little bit more confident as they go. But their vision is nowhere near the control that Harrisburg have. Ooh. And you got to watch for that.
Chain Corruptions came out, but so did the Handshake, so it actually ended up being a sunk cost right there. And now, with a little bit of an advantage, this is one thing. Maryland's take on Baron is much better than I would say Harrisburg's, even with the on-hit Vars, so that can melt through them really quickly.
Yeah, I can see that. I think you're going to have to figure out how to be very flexible around these side lanes against Harrisburg if you're the University of Maryland, because the way they're going to play this is with the Camille and the LeBlanc is kind of trying to force you to bend and then pressure that moment with the Lisa and with the aggression that they've been kind of running around with the trio of Shorter Race, Mayco, and Barlow. So you've got to be aware of that from the University of Maryland and try to find ways to play against it. You have decently strong side lanes that can respond to that kind of gameplay, but it's more so been about what Cheha, Sunbay, and Mephistopheles can do, because it's really difficult to deal with this trio from Harrisburg.
Looking for the play, get the flash out of Barlow. Even getting the hostile takeover burn. The flip in! They're continuing the play, and that's going to be the exhaust already used with the handshake on the Mephistopheles. But look at Cloudy, he's getting chased down. Got to be careful of the back line. They get the kick. It's going to do a lot of damage. But Lawrence, he helps out, get the killing spree for Savage. And now Cloudy, the damage he does is huge, but not enough to actually kill anybody on Harrisburg's side just yet. With the Sonic Wave connecting, here's the hook shot. They've got it connected. They have a cleanse burn, but Cheha is low. And now they are the ones running back to their base.
You can see the bright moment there for Cloudy. The AoE damage that was coming down for University of Maryland. They were able to make Harrisburg second guess their fight there. It's when you get to the peel back, when Harrisburg can kind of pick you apart with their mobility, that's when they're the scariest, not the big 5v5 team fights. So it's a little bit of that moment for Maryland to say, okay, this is what works. Let's try to figure out how to make this work even more.
And there you could also start saying that there is more damage coming in from their side.
Oh. Yeah, there is, if they're alive.
Yeah. Yeah, okay, Savage. I see you. 10 stacks of new Dark Seal. I see you.
Yeah, that one hurts a little bit there.
No, Lawrence getting picked out. That's going to be the ult used. Coming in from Spare Cheha. Wants to get that, but the bailout might be enough. Or is it? No, Cloudy shows up to make sure no bailout help for Harrisburg.
Even at this big deficit, doesn't matter.
Hey, okay, keep in mind, that's Hikey Savage on the other side. Hostile Takeover is going to hit 2 members. They're getting a lot of damage. Pulls back in Savage. They've killed him. They've got the resets. They're looking for Shorter. Bursting him. The flash, the dash, and even with the bailout, he has dashed his hopes to stay alive as Michael now going to be the target. Cheha is feeling good. He's in the back line, but will be finished off by Michael. A little bit greedy, but guess who's also playing greedy? That's Derived. He wants revenge. Too many times have his targets escaped.
They just won a team fight at 8,000 gold in the deficit. They just turned around the game using the strength of their composition, and they just made this game too frightful for Harrisburg.
And let's see how much gold will actually be what remains between the two teams after these plays, because right there, getting the full ace, getting shutdowns picked up getting that turret in mid lane, maybe even getting the turret in top lane for Derive. So much of an influx has now come in, especially to the top half of the map for Maryland.
Real quick, just look at that gold between the jungles. That's a 10-2 and 6 Lee Sin that has the same amount of gold as a 5-5 and 5 Viego. That's the shutdown powers. Like, that is insanity. And the fact that now you have Cloudy at 4-5, 3,000 gold over his opposing laner, and this Aatrox in the late game will be terrifying. We've already seen it.
The only thing is when you look towards the bottom half of the map, Mako and Parlo looking pretty good at the moment. They've got a good 3,000 gold lead off over Cheha, and even a 2,000 gold lead over Sunbay, who got the pull right there on a Savage, but nobody around again. Not really going to look for anything further.
Dragon coming up on the plate, or the menu at least, for Harrisburg University, as they will be on Soul Point here. No real response to come out from University of Maryland. They weren't really in position. The vision game too strong from Harrisburg, and the Storm keeps on rolling around the objectives.
Whoa. Look at the top half of the map. Look who's going towards the Baron. There's some pings.
They've got to just bait it. It's got to be a bait. They've got to just try to fight.
That's what I'm assuming. I'm assuming that it's a bait, trying to see if they can catch someone rotating around, and they might have just done so. KhazixMayJump is over on the other side. The flash-in does not connect onto anybody, so the attempted play, the trap, did not collapse.
It did not. The bear trap was seen too early on by Harrisburg as they rounded that corner. It was a nice play from Sunbay, trying to get the flash rocket grab there onto one of the squishy members of Barlow or Maykel, but didn't find it now. Ping's coming back onto the Baron. They do have to deal with KhazixMayJump up there, who can poke them out while the rest of the team comes through. And side lane pressure now from Toplessness, who is Lawrence, with the TP available for him. But that Baron...
It goes fast. This is the problem. You have a Viego and you have a Samira on your team. They can burn this really quickly. They got the and they've caught Shorter Ace. He's dead.
They got him.
Derive takes him down. The comeback.
Hostile takeover.
Even with the exhaust, they're in the back line. Mako's the target. He's bailed out. He'll kill him.
Maykel.
But they got to kill him the other side. And here's Cloudy hunting him down. Derive. He's killed too. But you know that Cloudy is massive. He's taking them all down. Another bailout, but another death all the less.
Aatrox, too big! Triple kill for the top laner of University of Maryland, and the Terps come out strong. 7-0-5, and they are dominating this game. They are now just within 2,000 gold when they were circling the drain of a 10,000 gold Sharknado at one point in the second game.
They figured out the chainsaws, man. They figured out chainsaws counter those of Sharknado. All you gotta do is rev up the engine, and you can tear them apart.
Yeah, apparently we need a chainsaw skin for Aatrox, because Cloudy is absolutely ripping them apart. Doesn't matter if you have 0-7 on your duo in the bot lane, with the assist there, with the amount of playmaking that Sunbay has been able to do, with the amount of extra AoE damage that Cheha has been putting in. It's so easy for Cloudy to just navigate these fights and tear them apart.
Keep in mind, Cheha, the scoreline says 7-0-9. But this is also a player who was 0-5-1 just like 3 minutes ago.
Yep. It's actually insane. And just like that, the turntables there, Magical. I think you're definitely fretting here as Harrisburg that this might go to a third game, that their composition has really worked out, and you kind of picked yourself into this hole. But I will say, Maykel is putting out work. He's about to be on full items here very, very shortly, and I think you have to watch those fights. That's what kept that so close in the end. Maykel's damage, the bailout coming in clutch there, and it's all about who gets picked out by the rest of University of Maryland.
We're also starting to see Guardians Angels picked up by both sides. Shorter Ace has got his, while Cloudy has picked up his own. That'll be really difficult for both of them, because you know Shorter Ace is going to look for purely the kick onto someone like Cheha, like Derive. Make sure they can catch him out of position, while Cloudy is going to be hunting them down and chasing, and now has even less to worry about.
See how confident the rest of University of Maryland are as they go to start up the Baron here.
There's no TP from Lawrence, so that they can burst this, but look at where KhazixMayJump is. He's right behind.
Yeah, he's going to get the poke in there. He's going to get right back out. You have Shorter Race on the other side. Here comes Sunbay.
Going to have the Chain of Corruptions already bursted, only getting the stun onto one. Now they have to peel back because they took a little bit too much damage. Cheha especially is low. And look at KhazixMayJump on the other side. Still looking to see if he can chunk out or maybe assassinate someone right from the midst.
And this is how Harrisburg need to play these fights. They do not need to keep opting into these 5v5 brawl death matches. They need to pull them apart. They need to pick them apart. And this is how you need to approach it for Harrisburg these last couple moments.
Sunbay had me worried there for a second. He was venturing alone into his own jungle, knowing that the rest of his team had reset. But he was able to get out. Now the rest of the team having reset, having picked up a couple more items, maybe just some pittance items, not really getting full items built. Ooh, Sunbay, though, canceling that back out short race. He'll still survive, but it just means that he's going to be off the map a little bit longer.
Yeah, the setup for Dragon will be a little bit delayed here as, stopping the back hit again of Lawrence. They're just using Sunbay's speed here, and I love to see it because now University of Maryland move in, get all the vision they could ever ask for around this Dragon, and get set up to find picks themselves again.
And they really need to make sure they get this Mountain Dragon. Mountain Soul is going to be nearly impossible for them to cut through, especially when you have to worry about a Guardian's Angel on one member. You have to worry about the healing of Drive.
Oh my god. Oh!
He gets assassinated! The piercing arrow! Now they've got the damage on a shorter range. And look,
5v5.
That's huge. Cloudy trying to see if he can survive against all of them. But with the Guardian's Angel pop, that's huge. Jayha by himself against Lawrence, but the bailout again! Harrisburg find the fight. It looked dicey, but they are now in the lead and they are marching down mid.
And, you know, it was a nice memory. It was like a little bit of a dream. It felt like we were daydreaming along here in class, but they don't last that long because Harrisburg quickly slammed the books on the table and woke everybody up. I don't know how, just like that, they snapped the fingers and get a 4-0 fight, but they did, and that's an inhib in mid lane.
Inhib, and again, they increased their gold lead, now 4,000, still shy of that 8,000 they once were at, but it is a big boon to the economy of Harrisburg.
Now they get to set up for the Dragon. This will be Mountain Soul for them with no contest coming out of the University of Maryland. They might have the damage, but they've got to be able to take the team fights. I thought maybe in that moment that opting into that fight, University of Maryland was going to try to turn around the 5v5, but that hostile takeover across the back right when Cloudy popped the World Ender, it was actually gigantic, and especially the way the rest of the fight followed up. The mobility within the fight, again, is so important to watch for Harrisburg, and they haven't been executing on it. That fight they did.
And here, back to the drawing boards, back to the strategy that had worked out well. Getting a pick on a shorter race could work out, especially because he has the GA. That will be popped before he can even get towards the Baron, and they just want to kill him. As long as they can kill the one with Smite, they might be able to go get the Baron.
They will absolutely just snowball to this Baron. The things you got to look for are Lawrence and KhazixMayJump. Some arrows from Maykel could be huge. A big hostile takeover across the pit. But I don't know if they're going to be able to contest it whatsoever. Derive almost.
That was close. Like you said, he was hunting for him, but he is low, and look at Lawrence. He is looking to see if he can jump in. That's KhazixMayJump back in, looking for Cloudy this time. Just chunking him out.
They're picking him apart.
Derive. He's alive, but the Baron taking him down with a hostile takeover as well.
Oh!
What a handshake! Dang, this is GG, baby!
Oh my god! Barlow is a monster! Oh!
What a handshake.
It feels so bad. The hostile takeover. It was like I had already seen it in a vision. They did it perfectly. They bend and broke University of Maryland until they broke so far they took a 2-0.
Yeah, it was a well-fought game, too, from the University of Maryland, but it just seems all their fight, all their spirit was not enough to topple the kings of fighting, the kings of taking advantages everywhere at once, the Sharknado composition of Harrisburg Storm.
I will say there was a moment where you were caught in the eye of the storm and the Sharknado, and everything looked like it was going to be just fine. And Harrisburg's going to want that back. They were at an almost 10,000 gold lead, and they gave over consecutive fights because they weren't playing around the execution of their composition. And I think we got to see them kind of wake up in the last part and be like, okay, we know how to play this competition. Let's go ahead and execute it. And it's a standout performance from every member of the Harrisburg squad.
And see, you were talking about that hostile takeover, how massive it is. It's that in combination with the handshake that happens later on that absolutely win the fight. Right? I think it's right there. It was a 3-man stun with the handshake, which I just you don't often see because usually it's just the 2.
Yeah, it's really incredible the way we got to see so many bailouts go the way of Harrisburg, the handshakes, the hostile takeovers. Barlow's my MVP. But it actually was incredible to also see Shorter Race get Lee Sin twice in a row and pilot that one really well, even if it wasn't exactly how he wanted it to go in game number 2. And obviously, Maykel showing out some big performances here across the board. And but Heike Savage, Lawrence, you keep doing what you do, all right? You keep doing what you do.
Yeah, I was about to say, I also just love seeing how Shorter Ace and Heike Savage play with one another. Yeah. They no matter where they go, even though it wasn't the top side of the map like I had predicted, because that's how they had been playing beforehand. There's still them grouping up and saying, "Let's go bot. Let's have a little vacation, get a little bit of gold, quick adventure in and out." Except this one actually was.
Yeah, it was a heck of an adventure full of sharks and storms and all kinds of stuff, but especially the way, again, that they approached these 2 wins for Harrisburg is the fact that they have so much strength in their solo lanes that they feel confident to let Shorter Race put a lot of resources in the bottom lane and make sure that things are going their way and even come away with some leads himself there and transition that around the map. And playing through the aggressive jungle has been Harrisburg's mantra since they adopted Shorter Race, and it will continue to be so. You give this Lee Sin over, he will tear you apart. And it's not just the Lee Sin, it's a lot of other aggressive picks that you can see from this guy. So I'm very excited to see the rest of the playoffs with Shorter Race, with Harrisburg, and if this performance is something to say, they can make it all the way.
Yeah, honestly, this is a great performance from them. And this is a team that I dubbed them the 50-50 team because I've seen many times where they play like game 1, where they're always in control. It is the snowball that nobody can deal with. But then I've also seen games like game 2, where you have this lead and then suddenly...
Throw a 10,000 gold lead for a little bit. No big deal.
Right. But still, they were able to claw it back. They were able to say, you know what, we still have the lead. We still have the damage. We can assassinate, especially Derive, who really was struggling against that LeBlanc, who was saying, "You are mine. You're not getting towards my backline because I'm killing you first."
And obviously, I think they were trying to go out on a limb, the Blitzcrank pick, the Samira pick. I think you can question those to some extent. Obviously, I think Blitzcrank was big, but it was all about those team fights. And when you don't get opted into those team fights, it becomes more difficult.
Yeah, and I look at this and I kind of just like, you know what? Maybe you clean up a couple things if you're Harrisburg, but all in all, fun games to watch, fun action. Like that game 2 kind of reminded me of like the game 5 for Worlds, how amazing that was. If it's a spoiler for you, just watch game 5. You'll understand what I mean.
It was a banger. It was a banger.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to see if we have an interview ready.
I heard that we do not have an interview.
Thank you. I couldn't hear that properly, so I was trying to figure that out just now. So apparently we don't have an interview. Sorry about that. But we do have a giveaway that is going on right now. So remember, the RTC is back with another collegiate camo giveaway. Check out the chat and Nace Star League Twitter to enter for a chance to win a PS5 controller and Herschel Little America Backpack Pro. Army RTC, be a leader.
It's pretty sick, as you can see. Those PS controllers are actually incredible. I don't have one of the backpacks, but it actually looks really cool and looks like it can hold a lot. So definitely enter that giveaway.
Exactly. I mean, who doesn't like a nice controller like that too, right? The
They're so nice.
Right. The backpack looks.
I don't have a camo one, but I have a blue one, and they're really nice.
I don't have one on me because it's all in boxes since I moved not too long ago and then got a car accident.
That'll do it.
Yeah, that'll do it. I finally got my car back, which is nice. And you know what? With that 2-0 win for Harrisburg, we are ready to toss it to a break. When we come back, we'll be getting ready for our second series of the day. Make sure you stay tuned.
Ermac with the Sheriff is laying down the law. Mur no longer the operator in hand, but the man disadvantage for TMU as they move forward. They desperately need it. 1-on-3, but Neki has his third, the fourth.
Though the distance, the difference between these two teams is almost negligible at this point. Oh, and the inhale working out still for King Deity. That's crazy.
That belly arm, no, you're crazy.
Oh!
The horn, when are they gonna call it? Looking for the drudge line, did not connect it. Instead, getting a little bit of damage with the knockup coming in from Volte. They're underneath the tower. It's taking forever. They've got a lot of damage on the cannons, and that's gonna be a 4-man knockup from Volte. Wow. The ADC turned top laner, but clean near ace.
Nice kill with the finger guns. Benji's not going to give that opportunity to peek. However, they have to be quick. They have to make the commitment, not expecting it from mid. Benji has to jump down. Oh my god, Ponder with the 4K saves it with the finger guns.
As well, the card's finally starting to push up. It takes a while to get out of that initial garage. Here comes the Kitsune Rush, going to be countered by an Amplification Matrix, but Squeak doing a good job pushing everybody back from it. They get Emerin the opportunity to use their blade to great effect and find a team kill.
Yeah,
Davenport just one goal away from moving on in the LCQ. No CU.
Oh,
one
no!
goal away. There it is. Shane, another flip reset, wins the sweep in favor of Davenport.
Look at this. That was classy as ever from Shane.
Alrighty, everyone, welcome back to the Nice Star League. As you can see, this is our schedule for the week at hand. Unfortunately, a couple days with no broadcast going on, but at least we got League of Legends action for you today. We got some Valorant tomorrow, and then again, we're back with League of Legends on Saturday. I'm excited to be a part of all of that. I wish there's more. You know, those Rocket League plays were looking, especially the #1 play. That was just absolutely impressive.
Yeah, that was crazy. Love to see that we got some more League of Legends to continue these wonderful playoffs that we got going on a little further down the way. But it's going to be a fun week.
Hey, in fact, we have more League of Legends today.
No way.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, my goodness.
We got more. We have another best of 3 at hand. Maryville University, George Mason University. We have the undefeated team in Maryville, one of the top teams. When it comes to collegiate, they've always had many titles, or at least been present in many different tournaments, whether it be collegiate or even be amateur trying to make it into the proving grounds. And George Mason University, which I meant to do the research beforehand. I believe it's still, even if they're 5-2, a team that could upset Maryville. They were a team that got into the semifinals last time of NACE.
I believe it was 2 years ago. If I was thinking, because I was thinking about when I was at NACE, I believe it was 2 years ago now, which makes me feel like it's been way too long. But in all actuality, right? Like, I will not hide it. I'm a big Maryville fan. I've always loved their program. I love what they do in terms of trying to like lead the collegiate scene, but as well as the fact that this main roster, the Maryville Red Squad that we'll be seeing tonight, is kind of the ship that's leading its own way. And I love that, right? Going into the offseason, Jensen, the coach, kind of was like, I want to put these 5 guys together and I want to see what they can mold out of themselves. I want to see what happens when you put these minds together and let them play competitive League of Legends. And the fact that you are getting to see this kind of stability going into the offseason and see what they can come out with is scary when you also see that they're 7-0. And I think a lot like the kind of underdog story we saw in our first series with the University of Maryland versus Harrisburg University, this one around, Maryville definitely looking to dominate GMU, but always a potential for upsets here in collegiate, and that's what you gotta love.
Yeah, exactly. I love upsets. I like when teams are able to take it to force against a team that was heavily favored, such as we saw in Game 2 of our last series. But here, it is going to be difficult. Maryville with Niles, Odd Orange, APA, Scary Jerry, and Shady are all players that we know and love in the collegiate circuit.
Yeah, and they're all very adapted to the competitive scene. They've all been playing together for a little while now, and I think Scary Jerry, obviously the newest addition. I will say this guy, I had a conversation with him at ISU Land 2 years ago now, I guess.
Wow.
And they had lost, but they were a team that nobody had expected to do anything. It was Converse Esports or Converse University coming through. They dominated some of the top tier talent in that land, and I talked to the guy. I was like, you are going to be successful. Keep on the right track. And 6 months later, I get a message from Clerky saying, hey, guess who I'm signing? Sends me a picture of Scary Jerry. I'm like, yes!
Hey,
and
Scary
then
Jerry popped off in CELO on Converse University.
Exactly.
He deserves it.
He is an incredible piece to the puzzle of Maryville University, and that's why I'm so excited to see this squad come together, because it seems like they've found kind of the aggression they needed through the bottom lane to be added with the macro control that we know and love from them. But the issue with Maryville in the past has always been, if they do not get that control, that is where they fumble. They do struggle, at least in the past, at coming back into games. And if George Mason, with this composition, can find that early advantage, maybe that pressure, which I don't necessarily see coming, it would be something to be spoken of. But that late game team fight is what they're opting into. The survivability that George Mason University is bringing to the table, and Maryville University sticking with the tried and true. Let's push in their face and see what happens.
Well, it's a mix of that for me with Maryville. It's like you can get that in the bot lane from the Caitlyn Lux. You can also get that from the Varus and Karma, which is why I think we started seeing that resurge in the bot lane, because it could go toe-to-toe against them. And then you have 2 tanks in the jungle. You have a tank top lane for one side, but then Renekton, if he doesn't get ahead, will eventually just become a stun bot, and 2 good scaling mid laners.
And I think, again, like the first game, I think a little bit more so like the boxing match I maybe wanted in the first game of the first series. I think we're going to get that this time around. And again, I was highlighting the survivability on the side of George Mason. I think that's going to be super huge to index into, but it's also primarily down to this jungle matchup. And I think early advantage is going to be huge, but also more so for George Mason, just kind of deterrent, kind of being a bodyguard and finding ways to stop an aggressive advance from Maryville University.
We'll find out that, Mazel, as we load up onto the Rift for our first game between the two. The undefeated Maryville University shenaniganeries. They're looking for them.
Always looking for the upper hand is Maryville University, and it's so fun to watch this team kind of play the aggressive style we know from them as well to try to get that upper hand. But it's also kind of the setup in objectives and play calls that I really am always honing in on. With the amount of veterancy on this squad, right? We've had on Orange within the system for a while, but really looking at Shady to kind of lead the troops through a lot of communication and things like that. And now with APN Larastra, he is a standout star. He will dominate the mid lane, and you play around a player like that, and that's where it's been so cool to see now Scary Jerry added to the equation, because you have that dual threat between those two carries that can be unstoppable. And I especially, again, going back to the side of GMU, Bishop is going to be key here, either being a body blocker or getting into the lanes and providing that support, providing that pressure.
I'm glad you brought up GMU, because I kind of want to turn our attention to them, since we were talking a lot about Maryville. Mimumu, Bishop, Pipoto, Fruital Snoop, I love that name, and Cloud McGee. Well, these are players that are newer to the competitive scene, as in, like, just within the last year. Bishop started playing, I believe, last year on the team. Right at the beginning. Actually, no, the beginning of 2022. That's what it was. And now you see Fruital. He just gets soloed out. Oh, that's so unfortunate. He just gets... It's like a, hey, welcome to Collegiate.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate to go down the bot lane. We were talking about the potential give and take, what the Varus and the Karma can accomplish there if they find aggression, but the Caitlyn Lux aggression comes out on top, at least early on. Get back to the lane, recover a little bit, calm down, and see what happens when you get back in there. And Clown McGee continues to poke down the opposing lane. With Bishop hovering that way as well, potentially could help at least.
At least you're hoping so. Fruital Snoop will get back into the lane, but now down about 2 waves, just a little bit less. Oh, no. Don't do this, Hot Orange. Don't do him like this. Come on. Be nice. Be kind. The flash away. Cloud McGee misses the inner flame, and now he's in danger. Gets rooted, gets stunned, and gets killed for the second time by Shady as Fruital Snoop. Oh, this is just devastating.
Kind is on the other squad, Magical. Kind is on the black squad, all right? Hot Orange is on the red squad, and he might die.
No. This is what I call the Battle Sejuani. Looking for the fights.
Oh, my God.
Killing spree for Shady. He's the carry.
Shady is always the carry of Maryville University. If you're a fan of Maryville, but watching Maryville, he is the carry. He will play Pike, he will play Set, he will play Lux, and he will get the kills. Top lane, though.
Yeah, gotta have a little bit of fight. Niles goes in, and he will kill Mimumu.
Captain America, Kingin at the top lane. It is devastation. Maryville up now 2,000 gold early on, and this is the kind of early advantage, early control that we had spoken about for them, where they feel most comfortable. Would like to see a little bit more index into the mid lane, but it's so crazy that they kind of mind control GMU into just aggressing into that bot lane play forever. Orange is just between towers fighting.
God.
Now top
He's
lane.
back in the top lane, and they've got the Bash Bros here in the top lane. Look at Mimumu. He TP'd back in, and he's already so low and diveable.
Let's see Papito trying to Papoto trying to go up against APA in the mid lane, try to get some aggression. These wave not in the best position, gonna be slow pushing into him. See if he can get a little bit of help from Bishop. But yeah, that top lane. Very interested to see how confident Niles is playing with that Renekton.
I would say pretty comfortably. The fact that he was able to get that solo kill pretty early on, I would venture a guess that he's like, yeah, you know
Little bit.
I got this. It's easy peasy.
So next setup for Maryville is Dragon. Will be spawning here very shortly, but APA is getting pressed in very heavily, so Auto Orange definitely be called to the alarm here.
Poto. He's got to be careful against APA on Azir.
See,
APA
but he's got Bishop.
He's got Bishop, but Auto Orange was there too. I don't know if you really want to stick around for that.
Well, no, I would say at least Bishop was there to like disregard the gank coming through from Auto Orange. I think you can still go for that. But
Oh, I was just more worried that APA would get a solo kill.
okay, so I do want to highlight that we have a bit of a pressed in bot lane right now coming through for Maryville, so they're going to utilize that to help out with the Dragon here. I do think that at least for George Mason, just kind of keep status quo at this point if you can.
If you can. The key word there is if. Because it's looking really difficult in this bot lane. And guess who's here again?
Oh, no.
Sejuani!
Wow. Frutal Snoop, you tried to go in there, get a ward. It ended up in a death. And now they can play around this bottom tower, get as many plates as they want in this situation, and then always fall back on the Dragon play here. Or Auto Orange just plays aggressive, as Popoto does too.
Popoto! You didn't want to do that, my friend! Oh, you got
Popoto!
Popoto flashes away
Oh!
from his shoulders. They were right on his tail.
Oh, it feels bad. Why are there so many moments that break my heart tonight?
No, he can't do this again. He can't do this again. He cannot steal another camp underneath the nose of the jungler again.
I mean, hey, he's doing it. And I think obviously right now you have to look at the way that they're playing this. They are definitely playing to the limits right now. And Scary Jerry.
Oh no! Look at what Shady has gotten in his inventory.
He just went straight with the Magi's. Yep. I mean that's. Hey, Maryville style right there. And I can appreciate that one because you are looking to now have that strong, at least poke and damage coming out of the bot lane between Scary Jerry and Shady. And I'm surprised that they weren't able to pull back on the Dragon. I'm proud that they didn't go for it at least because at this point it would be a bit of a 50-50. But you're also now looking at the response for GMU. How do you get back into this game? It is by getting Popoto maybe out of that mid lane matchup, try to get into these side lanes, try to get into the help of Bishop, who hasn't been able to really get any ganks off. I said I wanted to be a kind of a bodyguard or at least a repulsor to the ganks of Maryville, but he hasn't been able to get into anything just yet.
Well, this is where you get the issue. What happens when all three of your lanes are getting shoved? Constantly having to worry about an easy invade for Auto Orange that if you even try to fight up against him, he's going to have some recruitments right behind him. He's going to be able to call for reinforcements.
I think the most difficult thing is the cohesion of Maryville University is already so well on display. And they find themselves at that 4,000 plus gold lead right now with pings coming down onto Rift Herald, which is spawning in 20 seconds. You see that they just want to continue to snowball some of these objectives. Use that Rift Herald to break open one of these outer towers, secure this tower plate gold that will be so beneficial to either APA, the late game carry here, or maybe just funnel down to the bot lane.
I'll say right now, this is just... I feel like you want to funnel more gold into your actual carry in Shady. Get the Magi's fully stacked here. That's really what you're trying to go for.
Yeah, I could see that. Wait.
Shady! Why do you have to keep doing this, man? Why do you have to keep doing this?
It's the name of the game with this man. He's always wearing sunglasses.
Oh, that was... Moo. You know you're going to just die, right? Even if...
Niles!
What a play from Captain America!
Niles with the flashy play, with the thumbs up, and yeah, it's a big difference in the top side. At least 80 CS to 50. Now with those 2 kills, bot lanes go their way.
It could be worse. It could be like the bot lane deficit.
It could indeed. But that's the thing, though. We have seen Maryville positions where they overextend when they get ahead and they get punished.
He's got flash. He flashed in.
Oh!
He flashed in. Scary Jerry.
The Magi's.
And now the Magi's stacked. No more. They will be silenced.
Oh, yeah, see, this is exactly what I'm saying. Just saying, shutdowns, although 2 kills over to Cloud McGee, maybe not the best avenue for the shutdowns, but the matter-of-fact moment is that Maryville University, when they do get these big leads, when they're feeling a bit hypey, they can overextend and they be punished. And we saw last series, Harrisburg almost lost with a 10,000 gold lead, even though they were dominating much of the majority of the game. So I love to see that George Mason is staying within this game. They're going for the Dragon now. Will be their first objective of the game as well.
At least in that game, you didn't have a 50 CS deficit between the ADCs at just shy of 10 minutes, where one of them has only just got 30. And then you have a flash in like that from APA. Scary Jerry. He will be taken out, but I'm looking at this backline. I'm looking at APA. He's in the thick of it all, and he was able to take down the tree, and then the flash in. Battle Sejuani here to rumble and look for the snipe in the backline. They've got this done. Double kill for APA as Cloud McGee. You're trying to tussle with the rumble, and you have to take away what you can.
Hey, I feel like APA is just the hidden ace. It's like everything's being thrown at the wall. You think everybody's knocked out, dragged out of breath on the floor. And then APA just steps out of the back of the door. It's like, hey guys, you ready to party? And he just comes in and cleans up the kills. Now 3-0 for APA, and huge moment for Maryville to just continue slamming the door on George Mason University.
We're almost at 11 minutes into the game, and there is a 7,000 gold lead. I'll make it more because that just happened with more stacks. 8 stacks now for Shady as Niles. He'll get knocked up into the air and still wants to fight. He knows Bishop's there.
Bishop hasn't really. I mean, Bishop is level 6.
Right, what can he do? He can bounce around.
He's level 6.
Niles is like, I'm here to fight. It is 1v2, and you will all fall. The crocodile sinks his teeth into the ram.
Kingin indeed. He is destroying that top side of the map in a 2v1, and it just feels like Bishop can't do anything.
No, and he just might die. Yep, he just got to be baited in with the twisted advance. But wait, what? They're diving underneath the tier 2 and inhibitor turrets. It's APA and Auto Orange. And yet they're getting a lot of damage.
APA got sucked into the hyphiness a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit too much. Oh, and Cloud McGee picking up that. Ace in the hole pop.
Oh.
All right, Jerry. Yeah, it's a 10,000 deficit at 11 and 45. So, is this time we plot out for next game?
I mean, absolutely. Unless I feel like that situation we saw last series was very much so about the composition that was drafted from Maryland. This time around, it's a lot more difficult to see that happening in this situation. So I definitely think that George Mason University are thinking at what they can approach next game with. Maybe find a way to get Bishop in a more proactive role, maybe even the Poppy, things like that coming out for the jungle, and find ways to play through jungle against Auto Orange, because you're never going to win against Maryville unless you can control the jungle.
Also, just kind of doing some extracurriculars while this game is going on, kind of looking at champion pools that you have for everyone. It's just surprising. They got the comfort pick for Cloud McGee in the spot lane. That Karma, it's his most played by far. But you look into the other lanes, and you look top lane especially. Mumumu is someone who tends to gravitate more towards the carries, more towards the Jaces, the Fjords, the Aatroxes. But here, put onto tank duty up against Niles, maybe it's just a respect given over to how Niles is in this top lane.
I love APA just having a little bit of a dance party in front of
They can't do anything to him. What can they do to him?
They really can't.
He's already got a Leandries.
Yep. And speaking of that, right, you got the items really coming online for Maryville, not so much for George Mason. Dragon's still online, not taking 13 minutes of the game because Maryville just looking for picks.
Oh, 2v3. Who wins this? If you're putting your money on Maryville, well, right now you might be wrong because APA, he should fall, but it's going to be the King and Niles himself, Captain America, 1v3. Oh, make it. Another support here, getting more stacks in the Magi, saying, you know what? Niles can pick up the kills, or we can continue to get the fully built Lux build here and pick up more.
Yeah, that's a 5-0 Niles. That is really big. And yes, they give up APA. APA kind of throwing himself away there. But it's still big advantage for Maryville University.
The big thing for me is they got 16 stacks now in the Magi's, and maybe even more as Pipoto, he wanted that kill. Oh, what fancy feet.
Auto Orange, you're too good.
You can't really get away when it's just like, oh yeah, I have this, that, and you've used everything to get away.
Oh my god, Shady's playing so far up.
That flash, too, to dodge away from everything and just be like, yep, I want more stacks. I want to have a fully completed Magi's before 15.
I mean, putting in the work right now. Auto Orange.
Yeah, they're not
The
done.
rest of the team, they might actually go for it. He has the activation there, but won't utilize it just yet.
Okay.
Mamumu going forward.
That's the battle song pop. Looking for the flash in, getting the knockup on to Shady. Their focus, no more chapters for you. Taking away a chunk from Shady, as that was their mission and they have accomplished.
And that's what happens when you go against some beefy bodies. Ace in the hole, not going to do too much there. Down to 8 stacks now for Shady.
Now, then the flash in, they got the bounce up onto APA.
What?
That's more kills, but this is maybe just that hubris.
Oh my God.
In fact, they got a shutdown for Cloud McGee, and that is 3 kills in total for the side of GMU. Maybe, though, they got to worry about the battle Sejuani on a killing spree.
Yeah, they do. Auto Orange, Scary Jerry. Try to make up and gain back a little bit more pride from Maryville University as they're kind of be a little bit loosey-goosey with it here, Magical. And that's something that, like I was saying, pointing out, when they get into a lead, sometimes they do feel a little hypey. Sometimes they like to play a little limity. And with this Rift Herald, it'll solidify things for Maryville. Still over a 10,000 gold lead, and that's where some of that excess comes from. That's where you feel confident to play these games like you are and get setups like this where you just almost one-shot Frutal Snoop.
As a support. He
Yep.
almost one-shots the 80.
He had the Magi stacks. That's a kill.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, look how low Frutal Snoop is already.
Yep.
It's like, yeah, that was with 8 stacks. Imagine if I had all of them.
I just, again, I know we harped on it a lot already going into this to set up expectations, but to see it kind of realized is so huge. And to see this team, who now I've gotten to watch twice, right, like in 2 best ofs, come through and like just putting the pieces together, even if it's a little hyphy, even if it's a little aggressive. That's the Maryville that I know and love, and I love to see that being kind of brought out from the players, from the structure behind them.
Wait, they didn't notice Mumu. Mumu is behind them, and that is
Dude,
Orn.
that's a deep flank.
Yeah, that is. I mean, they're looking for it. They're calling up members. The only thing is Bishop is recalling. So it might be a little bit too late, unless, of course,
They don't have Bishop.
It's going to be the call of the Forge God knocking up Scary Jerry with the chain of
under
corruptions.
tower.
Orange is shut down.
That's it.
Battle Sejuani is taken out, and they're done. Scary Jerry, he's not killed. He turns it around, and now Ace in the hole on a Mamumu.
Oh!
Pick up more kills, and this night, the final sport gets more.
Oh my God, it's a catastrophe again. Ooh, Terry almost just dies there, but nice heal back and play away.
APA is just like, hey, wait, I didn't get kills. I want some kills. Thank you very much.
It is destruction of Maryville Saints, and honestly, it's
The
again,
14,000 gold lead at 17 minutes.
kind of back to the conversation, right? They feel like they're finding their strengths in the way that they want to play the game. I think that's something that has been an issue for Maryville University in the past in terms of everybody being on the same page. But it feels like this team, at least from the outset, right? That's not to say long term, but at least for right now, it seems like the pieces are coming together. And this is only best of 1 or game 1 of best of 3, so there's still a lot to grow to finish out this series. But this first game is a statement.
Lennon, they're so far ahead. They've not even bothered taking a single dragon until
That's
now.
what, yeah. We were saying it was like 13 minutes in. We're like, they don't even need to. They're just in top lane looking for fights, and it didn't work out necessarily for them. But now they can take free objectives.
I mean, didn't it? They got all outer turrets. There is not a single structure that is not inside of the base of GMU.
And Bishop is still just struggling to find jungle camp.
The battle bros right there. You always got to worry about that. And you have 2 melees. You could easily chase down, especially at Sejuani.
Yeah, they're not even going to go for a dragon. There's no point in trying to stack them up now. Apparently, it's all
right, almost
Wow,
one shot.
McGee almost just died that
If
time.
it wasn't for the shields, definitely death.
Yeah, but not needing a dragon is kind of a statement itself. Just want to finish the game.
I mean, they're going for the fastest game win. There's still Pipoto in the top lane.
Oh my God, they still have the Rift Herald. I forgot about that.
No!
I can't watch.
No! Look away, Lennon. Look away, because right
Dancing
now
Rift Herald?
they're popping it.
Nah,
They're looking
there's no
for it.
way.
That's gonna be a shuffle on a Fertile Snoop. APA gives his life for it, but they get the charge. They Shelly. It almost was able to dance, but this game is over. They are hunting down the last members of GMU. Maryville are constantly just feeding their KDA at this moment, and we don't even need to end. We've got the advantage. We've got Scary Jerry and look at Niles too. They're just waiting to see if they can get some more kills.
Wow, there's that. Yeah, great finish from Maryville University. Didn't really need
Bishop?
anything as well, just using the push. But yeah, the final touches here.
He was
from Maryville.
hoping to get the smash onto Scary Jerry, but they might actually kill Scary Jerry, but Niles that whole time was just on top of the Nexus, so they can turn around, get a lot more damage. They got the TV coming in from APA, who can also do a lot of damage onto it with Kodo, doing his best to get some kills, but another stack into the chapters. 25 stacks of Magi's for Shady, full built on this.
Oh, he wants to end it.
APA is like, no, get in!
Oh!
Niles by himself takes down Popoto.
It's not over. It's not over. Oh, he was one auto attack from finishing the game right there.
I think if
He's
Niles,
gotta be fighting himself a
if
little
Niles had stuck to the Nexus, I think they would have been able to get it.
It's yeah, I think. Oh.
Oh, okay. He's just gonna DP in. Slice, dice, smash, base, take base, win.
GG. What a game. What a finish from Maryville University. Coming out with, again, a statement in game number 1. Tried and true Maryville fashion. Aggression, speed, map control is the name of the game. And they dotted all the T's, crossed all the I's, got all the check marks, hit all the dots.
That was brutal. That was a very brutal game. And
Got some brutal ones tonight.
Yeah.
I thought Halloween was over.
Yeah,
Halloween was over.
I think this game was a lot worse than the other matches, because this one was just absolute domination. The kills picked up by GMU were purely because it was over aggression from Maryville.
Yeah, I think we saw it a couple times. It wasn't as crazy as that 10,000 gold fight from the first series, but there were some questionable moments. But this carousel that happened at 10 minutes of the game, where it's just constant fighting over and over again around that bottom tier 3 tower, is actually insane.
Poor Frutal Snoop pretty much just didn't get to play League of Legends that game.
Yeah.
It was just like, hey, I would like to pick up a farm or two, but just couldn't. And game 1 is picked up by Maryville University. We're going to toss to a break. When we come back, we'll be ready for game 2. Let's see if GMU can bounce back after such a brutal loss, or if Maryville are looking to remain undefeated.
Shady's a king.
Welcome back, one and all, to the Naystar League. We got more action here for League of Legends. Myself, Magical, as well, joined in by Mazel, still here to provide that color casting for you. And after that game one, I feel like we're gonna need that big brain to kind of see how GMU
I don't know
can
if we're gonna need the big brain. They were just gonna enjoy the ride at this point. That was
big brain to
incredible.
see how GMU can bounce back into this.
I thrive and love underdog stories.
Right.
And the fact that you get destroyed in first game sets up so many wonderful storylines for game number 2. And I specifically want to see what their response is going to be. And I really want to see exactly how they're going to kind of change things up, especially that bottom lane, the jungle, particularly what they're going to be grabbing. And I don't know which side is or which team has which, but we got the Hecarim Graves. Okay. So it's going to be GMU with the Hecarim, which is huge for them. Very much more so proactive than the Maokai from last game. So already setting themselves up nicely. But
No
Maryville,
way,
he
Shady.
does it again. He literally, that's what he does. He either plays Set, he plays Lux, or he plays the Pyke when he's feeling himself. And he's definitely feeling himself.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, you're like, oh, the Lux is banned, Caitlyn's still up. We're still going to play Caitlyn, but we're going to play it with Pyke this time around. And into a lane, like an Ezreal Karma lane, you want to target that Karma because that's going to be the easier pickings. But if you can somehow snipe, get Frutal Snoop with this Ezreal, that pretty much is going to make or break the bot lane.
Yeah, it absolutely will. I really want to see if they can utilize this combo with the Hecarim as well as the Karma coming into that poke with the Ezreal to whittle down. But it's really difficult when you have such burst potential coming through from Maryville University. And APA does pick something else that's kind of like that, which the Ahri can be very devastating in that fashion. It's going to be really hard. So right now, it's all about looking for security for George Mason University. I think there's 2 routes you can go. You can go for absolute aggression, say your last 2 pieces that are going to be a little bit more front-facing, or you can go with stuff that is more bruiser, more sustained, things that are going to sustain you through a game.
Ooh, I'm liking this. I mean, I'll also talk about why normally I don't talk about hovers, but I actually like seeing I think the Vigar is really good into Ahri, that people need to put more respect. But top lane, that's comfort pick right there. They're making sure all right, last game it was a little bit rough for us, so we got a lot more comfort with the Karma still in the bot lane for Clown McGee. Ezreal, something a lot more comfortable for Frutal Snoop. Top lane having this Jace locked in as well, just saying, all right, we're going to be as comfortable as humanly possible. So Mumu will actually be able to prove a lot more, but it's into Niles' Aurelia. Niles.
I think that's a little difficult as well, but it's also the way that George Mason put their comp together. It feels a little bit interesting. The mid lane would be the LeBlanc. I love the give and take, but I think if you get something that more ties into the composition with the poke style that you have, I think you can play the LeBlanc that way, but I don't know if it's going to find success because the comp that Maryville has. And again, like you said, the Jace versus the Aurelia, it's Niles' Aurelia, and I'm very excited to see how aggressive he gets in that top lane, but it's also about the aggression of the jungle. We saw last time around Bishop not able to get anything off. I said I wanted him to be kind of a bodyguard and try and stop Orange from getting ganks off, but he really wasn't. It was a kind of a floodgate being opened up there in the jungle. So I'm excited to see as well the Hecarim coming through, something a little bit more forward-facing, and especially how Bishop pilots it.
Yeah, I'm really excited for how that will play out. That's something Bishop is a little bit more comfortable on. Obviously, using OP.GG isn't really all the most telling, but when we look at it, we can see that Poto does like more of these assassins. So picking up LeBlanc, something that is going to be a skill matchup into Ahri. APA on Ahri is going to be really difficult to overcome because as LeBlanc, I used to like to play a lot of LeBlanc, and this is one of the matchups I hated because when you distortion forward, it's really easy to just charm you before you can even get back.
Yeah, I think that can be, especially the give and take at that mid lane will be so important. Kind of to some extent how we saw it last time around in the first game where, yes, there wasn't a lot of focus in terms of getting into the mid lane, but it was also about those early roams and Maryville just dogpiling on the bottom lane. Now on the red side, that will be a little bit different. I think they have to play it a little bit differently, but I still expect that control to kind of be there.
That's what I'm expecting to. I'm also expecting to see, despite picking up a Graves, despite picking up an Aurelia into, a Hecarim and into a Jace, we'll probably still see the attempt from Odd Orange and Niles to look for those early level 1, level 2 plays.
I would love to see a level 1 come out from either side, honestly. I think it's definitely going to behoove Maryville to do it more so than George Mason. But you never know how things work out in those level 1s in collegiate. And especially going back to this bottom lane conversation, I'm very interested that they wanted to go back with the Karma, go with the Ezreal this time around, still like very much in that poke avenue, but not something that kind of changes what happened last game, Magical. And like I think that the aggression we saw, not only from the bottom lane of Maryville, but also from the jungle perspective, was very difficult to handle. And I don't know if that's going to get any easier with just changing the Ezreal.
I mean,
Changing into the Ezreal.
Right, and that's where it's all going to be about how they can play. I mean, last time we did see it was the combination of that Caitlyn Lux. There's a reason why that has been kind of the go-to over the Caitlyn Morgana. There's something that's reliable.
You know, Shady? Yeah, I'm more scared of the pipe. I don't
That's
know.
what
man.
I was just about
Lux
to
is scary, but
you interrupted what I was about to say.
great
I'm like,
minds think alike.
yeah, because I'm like, it's like, yeah, you know, they had this, they had the power, so maybe you look at the Karma, you look at the Ezreal, the poke, and then you're like, oh yeah, Shady's playing Pike. You're like,
So yeah, it's difficult. I mean, the Ezreal is going to help in that fashion. I think that's why. Obviously, you take it because you're a little bit safer. You can play into the Pike a little bit more. That
I mean, it
the
was
arcane
blind.
shift is
They
gonna be
didn't know the Pike was there when they picked.
But
Ezreal.
I'm saying that safety that you grab when you're picking Ezreal, right? You want to be able to get away from anything that they're going to grab. You know they're going to take something aggressive with Shady, right? Either it's going to be something with an engage, something they can set up the rest of the team with. And so if you're going to take the Ezreal, then at least you know that you have the arcane shift. You can play very safe. You can get to that late game, not be the center point of Maryville's lead game through the bottom lane.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I'm just hoping that they can survive in this bot lane. That's the bigger thing. Even with the safety that Ezreal provides, you know that Shady is going to realize that as well, know how to play around those dashes. Shady is a player that's been playing for quite some time and always has these very unique styles, very different from what everyone else provides. And that's why I've always loved Shady and his career, just because he's someone who's not afraid to break the mold and do what he wants.
And I think he works so well with Scary Jerry, who's still obviously a developing player, obviously in a lot of collegiate players still working on things within the game as is done. But his aggression can be very good. But also it can be a downfall. And that's something that we've watched and tried to watch at least him grow through and see how he tempers it to some extent. And that's where the pairing with Shady is so cool, because you have the veteran who, yes, gets hyphy in his own right sometimes, but has been in those moments where he needs to kind of calm things down, and has actually been with a lot of top tier developing ADCs through the years here at Maryville. So it's cool to see another iteration of that coming online.
Let's also, just going back to the story of Scary Jerry, you talked about how you met him back 2 years ago, and then this last year he kind of made his breakout with Converse University, and then I got to meet him at the LCS finals for summer. Great guy, who loved the whole team of Maryville, and just excited to see how they can play. But I am still looking towards GMU and how they can battle back into this game. You talked about the safety that they had, but we now have this LeBlanc, something that can really roam around the map. And I almost want them to do what Harrisburg had done in their games. Utilize the combination of a Hecarim LeBlanc and rotate constantly around the map.
They're going to have to. I mean, that might be the only way through. I think that you're going to have to look at the top trio. But again, all eyes for me are on Bishop. You can't have the kind of backseat gaming style we had in game number 1 for them if they have any hope of finding traction in the game. And especially, like you said, that combo coming together, but more so the pathing, the anti-pathing of Odd Orange and trying to find a way to get around that. Maybe even looking towards top lane, trying to find avenues that way. Or if something happens with the pathing, you find a way, visiting bot lane. But yeah, that combo of where Bishop goes and who's able to follow him is so key for GMU to have a hope of getting this to a third game.
Yeah, and it's going to be difficult. You're going up against a team like Maryville University, even when they're playing things that seem like for fun, that's why when there was the hover of the Fizz, I'm like, oh, please don't do this to them. More because
I want the Aurelion Soul.
Right. I mean, the Aurelion Soul is the APA special, but we don't get that here in Game 2. It is now underway for the Daystar League as shenaniganeries abound, but unfortunately passing ships in the night.
Going to be on opposite sides of the map. Not going to find too much. I don't know if it's going to give too much vision either, or at least knowledge, but I love the attempt from both teams.
I mean, respect over to George Mason. They pretty much were figuring that this was going to be the attempt. When you have a Pike, when you have Nautilus, when you have Blitzcrank, these are great champions to look for those sort of plays with early on, which is why I always criticize teams that don't look for the shenanigans when they have one of these. But that was more of the read from George Mason saying, if we all group together, we have a far better chance of making sure that even if someone gets pulled, we immediately collapse and get a kill.
And they actually do end up kind of using that to see some vision around the blue side start of Maryville. So at least they'll know that there's no setup around there for Odd Orange to start off with. Maybe leading some information that way. But it'll be opposite side starts for both junglers. And I think you have to look at that in terms of where they're going to be pathing to and trying to at least find those advantages early on. Because, again, GMU, they didn't have a fun game one. And I think especially in collegiate where emotion reigns and it feels like momentum is king, a lot of the times you have to look at how to calm down, regroup, and pull back. And not every team has like the background structure that Maryville has, but I would expect that, a little bit of a talking with the team, being like, yo, let's pull it together for playoffs. And this is going to be a hopefully a better showing.
Here we go, top lane. The level 1, but it's coming out from Mamumo. Playing something he's comfortable up against Niles, who now the Conqueror popping on his side. Might be a little bit safer, but this is why, Chase, I'm actually really happy to see that this early aggression, because Aurelia level 2 for Niles, you better bet he's going to look for a kill in most situations.
I'm surprised, honestly, that Niles is playing that close with the health bar that he has, but playing with a lot of confidence riding off that game number 1 that can sometimes come back to bite them. Looking at the pathing of Odd Orange, though, there's a lot of aggression being presented on the map right now from Maryville.
That's probably why he's feeling so confident. He's like, yeah, I got the backup as Odd Orange. Chasing down, looking to hunt down.
Got it again.
He did. He did get it again.
That's the second time. That's the second game in a row that it's been Bishop trying to go for a double clear of their blue side, and they get pounced on by Odd Orange. It just seems like Maryville has done their research.
And look at this top lane, looking for the fight against Mamumu. As Niles dives in, wait a minute, Mamumu! One more auto is what it needed, but it's first blood for Odd Orange. So close in a 1v2 to taking down his opponent.
It's not enough. The nice little quick flash from Niles to get to the other wall, or the other brush at least. Mid lane not going the way of Popoto as well. But that is actually been signature so far of the series from Maryville University. Odd Orange plays aggressive on that level 3. Goes with a double clearing Bishop.
Oh my God! What? Are we just about to see every single lane get a kill for the side of Maryville? Because right now, Niles actually, he will be the one that falls. So not every single lane wins out for Maryville.
But going back to it, like, it's just good research, good strategy from Odd Orange and the rest of Maryville University to kind of pounce on that. Love to see Mamumu backing it up, though, getting at least something for the top side of the map. And now, at least looking at it, Bishop needs to get back out, needs to get back into aggression while my screen is frozen.
Yeah, mine is too, so hopefully we'll be able to get that resolved here in just a second. But okay, but I was about to say, but it does give us a chance to kind of digest what just happened, right? You get a kill in the bot lane, the kill goes over to Scary Jerry, which is actually going to be nice in the earlier stages before you have that death from below from Shady. And mid lane, APA, this is what I talked about. It is a skill matchup when you face up against an Ahri as LeBlanc. Now, Niles does not get this done, but
he saved it for so long.
Mamumu, he's got to be careful. Looking for the damage back. Needs that shock blast, but doesn't land it. So Niles gets his own solo kill in retribution from before.
You can't step up like that from Mamumu. You just need to cut your losses and walk away. But you know that distance, that Q is coming up, and it does indeed, landing a kill for Captain America. Bot lane.
More action on the trap, too. How do
you can't move?
You can't move!
It's just as toxic as any other combo with Caitlyn. You get a long CC duration, you get a trap, it's over.
On here, mid lane, APA says, hey, Odd Orange, you want a free kill here in the mid lane? Want to look for something? Or bot lane, we could just have the 2v1 situation, look for their own kill. As Poto, that's your base is the other way, buddy. You got to be careful. Even with the chains, that is a Graves looking to hunt you down. You will be able to escape just... Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking at Shady, though. Look at Shady. He is hunting. He might look for it, but it does seem that Poto will survive.
Scary Jerry just doing what Caitlyn's do, pushing in as hard as they can. Oh,
Poto,
no.
he wanted to land the chain so bad that he put
landed.
himself in a bad spot. And now, 1v2! Scary Jerry!
Yo, is that Freddy Krueger or what? No, that's Scary Jerry.
Yeah, more terrifying.
They landed the skewer on Super.
Oh no! Oh no! Frutal. I get you want to win this, but
Oh,
we've
he
already
wants
seen
it. He wants it. Oh, he wants
the net,
it.
It collapsed. Oh, but he couldn't get the vision, so he couldn't get the headshot.
That was very close. Very, very close. Mid lane's looking a bit whisperware. Plates going their way for Maryville University. 3,000 gold in the lead now as well to kick off this game 6 minutes in. And hooks keep landing, Magical.
The hook combination with the charm there too. And what I love here from Shady's play is he's constantly threatening, trying to make sure there is not going to be that recall easily for Poto, which burns so much time. Just look at the CS lead that APA has been able to gain just within these last couple minutes.
It's not the early advantage is gone. The mid-game advantage is probably gone as well because they are just going to find so much gold off the oppression that they're finding in the lanes right now. The only service right now for GMU, sorry, is Frutal Snoop being able to press in the bot lane a little bit, but it's going to be an immediate back, and I think it's still very scary to go up against Scary Jerry in the bottom lane, and I think it's just another game where we're not going to have any dragons. Maryville's just going to go for the kills.
Here comes the horse. Nay! Looking to hunt down the hunter. He is the one that hunts. But now, with the Vanguard's edge, no, you can't do it. Niles, 1.
Oh,
Niles,
my God.
2. Niles, is he going to look for 3? He's trying to stand this, but he's finished off by Bishop.
That was so close to a triple kill for Niles. Bishop able to clean it up. Not level 6 just yet, but that was very close. Giving a little bit of gold back over to George Mason, but it's still 8-3.
Yeah,
big
I was about to say
lead.
a little bit with a 3,000 gold deficit.
Oh!
Shady's like, hello, I'm the real Shady, and takes the kill in top lane.
Shady always there to clean it up for Maryville University. APA picking off a little more plates in the mid lane. Scary Jerry just 1v2ing bottom lane because it's a Caitlyn, can push up so much. And Shady is free and unlocked around the map. APA might need to get a little bit of a back off here, or maybe they just gank mid lane again.
I mean, collateral damage. Oh, no, he's only level 5. Okay, so he can't. The distortion away, and guess who's here? Shady. Does he go for the distortion, try to predict? He actually was able to just get the regular into the charm!
Oh! That's, again, second time we've seen that combo very recently, and yeah, Niles is stacked up, and each one of those auto attacks is doing so much work, but Moo just goes in anyways, trying to get some of that AoE.
Hey, respect. He's trying to see if he can fight back, but guess who's showing up? The rest of the team.
Didn't even need the team. Nope. Captain America does it solo. Another solo bolo for King King.
Yeah, no Civil War here. It's all by himself.
So many names, Niles. So many names.
And with that,
they're not even taking the Rift Arrow. They're just going for, you know.
Oh, no, they're going for it. I mean, at this rate, you have a 5,000 gold lead, 8.5 minutes in. You have a Magi's for APA. They are pretty much saying that this game is already ours.
I would say so, but you know, we saw some fumbles last game as well. I think the big difference here is that Shady has been constantly on the roam, and Scary Jerry has literally been in like a 1v2 situation for a lot of this game.
Yeah,
it's really weighing on the team of George Mason, but I think you can find moments like this.
Oh, almost. He was trying to go for the eye, but now Auto Orange could just dash over the wall. Oh, the flash!
Oh,
no!
I can't watch.
All a bait.
I can't watch. Oh man, why do we just keep getting horror movies? I thought this was like family friendly.
No, they're like, collegiate ain't family friendly. We're here to dominate.
It's a carousel of chaos.
They're like, we're the best team in collegiate. Nobody can stand up to us. He's been looking Shady with 3 in front of him. Is still looking for the bone skewer so he can look for the kill while top lane. Niles just soloed out Mamumu underneath the tower. With the onslaught of shadows in the bot lane, they're going to be able to kill Shady. But now they got to escape with their lives. And Scary J, we're doing a lot of damage on the other side. And guess who's also on the flank? APA shows up out of nowhere. Papoto, they can try to dash over the wall, but guess who still has Spirit Rush? APA, ooh, nice distortion. But unfortunately, guess who's also there? It is Graves, and he'll finish you off.
You know, I was trying to think of something to tie Maryville to, like we did with the Sharknado for Q earlier.
It's
But
Halloween Horror
it's a
Nights.
haunted house. It's a
Yeah.
haunted house because you get scared once. Say Scary Jerry is dressed up as Freddy Krueger at the front of the house. You think, okay, well there must have just been one scare, and then Shady pops out of the wall as Pike, and then you got APA coming over the wall from behind as Ari. It's just actually crazy. The haunted house in
Mamumu
Maryville
was
is
literally
working.
auto-attacking that whole time
Oh.
onto Niles, and Niles still gets the blue buff, then gets the death from below out of Shady, who's now looking for Bishop. The
Oh my
flash in
God.
from Odd Orange, and they want all the gold, baby, for Pike, as APA makes sure the Pony Express has no way out. And the flash away from Niles! He's looking for that fight against Paboto. He has it nearly.
Oh my
But
God.
here's gonna be the Pony Express chased down, and another
Ah!
one bites the dust!
The gold is just exploding, Magical. I don't even know, like, every time you see those X's light up on the map, it's just gold, 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 gold going over to Maryville University. They're trying to chase down under this tower here.
No. Mamumu.
Oh
You
my
had to believe-
God, he missed
okay,
it.
a little.
He missed
No.
it.
I think it was the cooldown. I think it's literally the last bit of the cooldown was up, and so if he didn't use it, then he wouldn't be able to use it at all.
It was close. VV close, but yeah, not looking good for the top side of the map for George Mason. And they're just going to continue. That hook
Lennon.
landed.
Lennon, there's almost
God.
2 kills a
Oh
minute
my
for
God.
Miracle.
No, don't use the
Almost
ult.
2 kills.
Oh.
And Scary Jerry was able to get the solo wall in the jungle.
Shady's
they
down.
have a lot of damage, but Paboto will also be down. With how low Cloud McGee is too, they want to hunt him down, but 3 members all there running away from the 3 that are all grouped up in mid.
It is 10,000 gold at 12 minutes. It's almost 4 plates to Scary Jerry with solo kills going down as well on the Frutal Snoop. Not much to be spoken of for George Mason, who tried to regather, regroup after that first game. Can't find it in game 2, and now it's all Maryville Saints.
They're going to topple a tier 2 structure before plates have even fallen. They are that far ahead. They have more than a 10,000 gold lead. And Scary Jerry fights against Bishop, and he's able to turn it around. Niles is like, hey, bud, you need some assistance?
He has
I've
ace in
got
the
your
hole.
back, baby.
Niles is like, nah, that's my kill. He's going to just find it. Now having a little bit of trouble here.
But
He's
he missed the
overextended.
duet. Missed the duet, and the ace in the hole wasn't enough. So that was a good pickup for Paboto. There's only shutdown gold, while you still have to worry about Scary Jerry here with 700 gold bounty. They kill him.
No.
Oh, what is
Brutal
that damage from
Snoop.
APA? And guess what? 16 chapters. He wants all the chapters in that book, even hunting down Cloud McGee underneath the turret that moves.
Oh!
From below! Even if Shady gives his life for ire, it's more stacks in the book for APA.
I will just say, though, Scary Jerry's got to be feeling really good. It feels so good when you put one of those traps under the tower that you can't see because of the angle of the screen, and Frutal Snoop dies because of it. That's insane.
APA, he's just outplaying right now Paboto as Bishop shows up into the bot lane. But guess who's got 9 levels to his name? Odd Orange. The True Shot Brush does a lot of damage to him. They might actually be able to get him with the chains connecting with the charm onto Bishop. And the ult to shut down. 2 kills needed. Picked up, but Scary Jerry, the horror show, is again in the bot lane.
Yeah, it's really rough for George Mason. I think that when you're looking at how you kind of try to batten down the hatches a little bit, it's really difficult because the way that Maryville's competition is designed to be is to press you like this, is to get you under tower and kill you under tower. And with the Rift Heralds, all the objectives, right, in that sense coming online for them, they have the second Rift Herald coming online very soon. I'm sure they'll transition up that way, and one Dragon's not going to mean much for George Mason as they get their inhib towers potentially taken down shortly.
That was a close pull there for Shady, was looking for Clown McGee. That's funny, because Clown McGee actually has a level over Shady, but that's purely because Shady's just been like, I don't care about lane, I care about kills.
Hey, I mean, that's sometimes all that you need.
He's even got time to dance, man. He's even got time to dance.
Mamumu's going to be wishing for brighter days. And definitely wishing for a different lane. As Rift Herald's coming up right now, Maryville already positioned around it. As GMU have to kind of press around their already pushed in lanes. Dragon on the table for them. Maybe Bishop can sneak down there and grab that one as Maryville fully focuses top side of the map.
I was about to say, Maryville doesn't even care about Dragons. They don't even expect them to be a part of the equation with how fast they're looking to win this game. 15 minutes, and they have nearly 2 kills a minute still. That's how far ahead they continue to push their advantages. How far they try to get into the base. And even
onto the trap.
Oh, look at that. Yeah, like you're talking about, it was perfect onto the trap.
Yeah, first game was what, 19 minutes?
Yeah, no, 20. It went over 20. It went over.
Oh yeah, because we got to the banner. But in all actuality, right, these games are going to go quick and fast with the way that they go.
What was that flash charm? Even if it doesn't net a kill,
dirty.
what was that APA?
Yo, we talked about him a little bit at the beginning of the series, right? APA is a next-generational star. Yes, he has his ups and downs. Yes, he has his little bit of roller coaster. Sometimes he doesn't get signed, but that man is impressive, and he will destroy you mechanically.
The charge! He's
literally just farming kills off Mamumu.
Not miss Lennon.
He's so good. I mean, why do you think he's at the top of the chain of the world's champs queue? Why do you think this guy is always talked about in so many circles about the next up-and-coming mid laner in NA?
They're putting down Rift Herald. They're looking to see if they can get a free Nexus turret off this, maybe even more. They are not threatened. They say we are fully comfortable, even with the Onslaught of Shadows getting a 4-man stun. Do they have the damage to kill anybody? Scary Jerry, he's in the midst of it all, and he takes down Mamumu first. Looking at Niles on the other side, he was able to delay it.
Oh my God.
He's gonna die. Ace in the hole, into the death from below. Picks up the kill. It's Brutal Snoop, the last one with Papoto. He might be trying to get away, but they have Niles, and he is on the hunt, looking to get into this backline. Double chains, might die to the minions.
Oh my!
Burning, the flash away. The tower shot eaten twice. Niles is still alive.
Oh my God! Oh, he dies.
There it is. All right. They're just now giving Mamumu some gold, or are they? Because Auto Orange is 3 levels up this top
no!
lane. Oh, but the red buff! The red buff!
Oh, it's tragedy. They literally were about to end the game. And then they lose multiple members. Oh my God. Oh, it's 17 minutes in. Base is busted. Maryville University playing with the food a little bit. But they are coming back onto the map now after the resets with tons of gold, tons of advantage. And Bishop is trying to get as much as he can before that onslaught comes back.
APA has a shame.
Yep. And 24 stacks in the book.
Yeah, and about to make it 25 here. Ooh, but the Bunch Cure didn't connect.
Is it?
The Bunch Cure connects, they get it. A nice kill there for Brutal Snoop. Maryville, playing a bit greedy like we saw last time where they're looking for these kills instead of looking for the game. But all of that still doesn't necessarily matter when you have a 13,000 gold lead. They got Niles getting the charm, getting the stun onto Brittle Snoop so they can get Scary Jerry Legendary. Looking for that Vanguard's edge, but it's still on cooldown. As Niles takes a lot of damage, Onslaught of Shadows. They look for Niles. They've got a killing spree suddenly for Mamumu. But even with Mamumu, look at the damage coming in from Scary Jerry. Headshot after headshot. And now everyone is running back to the base from the side of George Mason.
I mean, they've got super minions coming to their top side of the map. They've got to deal with it. As Maryville realized that they just push in there, they kind of just want to end the game, it feels like.
I mean, I think they're waiting for Shady, but there's one Nexus turret remaining. Super minions pouring into the base. 18.5 minutes into the game.
Oh, the charm.
On a clown again. APA's rampage is back. With Bishop taking so much damage. He's almost dead. The team they've got the collateral damage snipe they needed to. And now look at Niles with the Vanguard edge to the back line. Brittle Snoop, first casualty. Papoto trying to dodge away. The turret silences Niles, but not from the wrath of Auto Orange. As they take down the towers, they take down the base, and they execute in the fountain for an ace.
I don't want to go to that haunted house. That's scary. Maryville University looking to kick off the playoffs of Ace with an absolute smasher. 19 minutes in, the Nexus is all bare. That's all she wrote for George Mason University.
Scary Jerry, he's legendary, and that is 3 Spoopy, 5 me with a 2-0 victory. One of the games even being under the 20-minute mark, with them trying to pad their KDAs at the very end.
I mean, what a performance from Maryville. We went from great to great, I feel like, with Maryville University.
Great to best, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, that competition, I know, first series of the day we were harping and, congratulating Harrisburg on the way that they were playing the game, the macro. This time it wasn't necessarily that that way, I guess, in the terms of like specifically playing the macro. Maryville literally just hands checked George Mason.
I was about to say, this was no macro. This was purely monkey smash keyboard. We get kill.
What you got, and that's the way that you want to start off a playoff like this. Every other team that's going against you now has to watch a 19-minute game that you just destroy George Mason in your first best of 3 of the tournament. Like, whoever has to watch that and dissect that and find out how to beat Maryville, good luck.
Well, that's why they're undefeated for this whole season. Now in the playoffs, still undefeated there with a great victory. I mean, the fact they were able to get a game that should have been under 20 minutes, but only lasted a little bit longer because they were playing greedy and wanted to get more kills. But then the second game where they're like, yeah, we can still look for the kills and it'll be under 20.
It'll be fine. It'll be just fine. The fact we got to see the signature, Shady whipping out the pike, having that aggressive play, the Lux coming out as well. It's just the stuff that you want to see Maryville. Again, I know I harped on it a lot at the beginning of the first game, but it is true. To see this team kind of cohesing and coming together, it is a structure, it's a foundation that I've been missing from Maryville University for quite some time now. And to see it kind of, it's just the beginning of this kind of roster coming together, right? Like, that is what the most important thing is. And to see them firing on cylinders like this, the mechanics are being upped every single time they play. It's really nice.
It is, especially for the beginning of a collegiate year, because this is usually when the collegiate season starts, since, you know, with how school works. So seeing how they already are right out of the gate, seeing this domination from this entire roster really puts into perspective, like, why this team was able to make the Proving Grounds twice here in 2022, even with a different ADC. Now they bring in Scary Jerry, and they're living up to the scary part of that name.
He is. Scary Jerry is quite incredible. I've been really liking following his journey. But that's the thing about Maryville is they cultivate greatness, not just because of the program, not just because of the people within it, but the passion that follows that. And you get to see that in multiple positions, right? Like Niles coming back to the fold after having gone to LCS, coming back to Maryville University, to a home he felt like. Shady having been home for quite some time and feeling success within that, right? Scary Jerry coming into a new situation, something he'd never seen before, right? Something so structured that he had never experienced at Converse, right? You don't have the level of resources that Maryville has at Converse University. And so APA as well, carving his path through the path to pro and trying to make it to the LCS in fascinating fashion, being top of the leaderboard in World Champions Queue, being one of the standouts, I feel like, in terms of mechanical skill within the NA mid focus. It's really cool to see all these stories combining within that on Maryville University.
And also, you got to look towards the jungle too. Odd Orange, a player that
my favorite.
He's been sharing time though with Iconic, who came back from Academy with Niles. So now splitting that time, we see here in this series the power that Odd Orange can bring to a lot of these team fights, especially when things get really chaotic.
I could probably talk about Odd Orange for hours. This man is just a stand-up guy. He's such
tall,
he's such a good-hearted kid, and I love to see his passion for the game, sometimes kind of biting him, as we see with a lot of Maryville players. But his growth into kind of a more mature situation for Odd Orange is actually incredible, and I love to see him himself earning that spot to start and be a part of this structured roster that, again, I stated, they want to try and keep this together and see what letting these guys cohese together by themselves does. And I think to be a part of that is something special.
Yeah, seriously, they are a great team. Unfortunately, there will not be a interview today, but there is still a giveaway going on right now. So don't forget that the ROTC is back with another collegiate camo giveaway. Check out the chat in the Naystar League Twitter to enter for a chance to win a PS5 controller and a Herschel Little America Backpack Pro Army ROTC. Be a leader.
I, again, love the PS controllers. They're incredible. The camo scheme is amazing. That backpack, though, that's sick.
It is.
That's
it's very
real sick. Real sick.
It's funny. I was about to say a PS5 controller but because I kind of forgot for a second that it's both of them that you win.
Both.
Right.
Por qué
That's
no
insane.
los dos?
Por qué no los dos? But you know what? That does it for us today on the broadcast of November the 8th. Tomorrow, we'll be back with some Valorant action. In a couple days, no broadcast, just taking it easy. And then Saturday, I'll be back. Maybe Mazel will be back. I don't know. We'll figure that out.
I have no idea.
Have no idea. Who knows if I'll be back? We'll find out on Saturday, but it will be League of Legends regardless.
Thank you so much. Everyone have a great night.
I hope everyone enjoyed themselves. I know I did. It was fantastic. It was fun. I got to do a couple more of our ad reads before we head on out of here. So just make sure that we get all of this done for you guys because it's been awesome. So shout outs to Extra Life because they play games to change kids' health, change the future. Join Extra Life today. We've got Duncan. Naystar League runs on Duncan. Click the Twitch panel below to find a Duncan near you. And we
Just
already
saying the holiday stuff is out now, so you definitely want to go check that out.
Ooh, it's already out?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a game changer.
Just had to pause that for a moment.
Yeah, because I was gonna go get dinner, but now I'm like, oh, maybe I want Dunkin' instead. Either way, thank you all for joining us here today for the Naystar League. We have 2 teams, two zeros, and they will be moving on in the playoffs. Harrisburg University and Maryville University. But otherwise, I'm all good. Lennon, you have anything you want to say before we head out?
I just want to say it's a pleasure to get to be a part of NACE again. I came up a lot with NACE. I casted for almost 2 years for this squad, and it was really cool to see kind of the development past that. And huge shout outs to Curtis, the whole NACE squad, and especially being a part of it with you, Magical. It's been a pleasure. So, hey, love Collegiate, all the love.
Always love working with you, Lennon. It's always a lot of fun. But that will be it for us today here at the Naystar League. Make sure you stay tuned tomorrow for some Valorant, and then Saturday for League of Legends. Until then, we'll see you later.